public. The short-lived, ephemeral sense of wonder was released in front of an exclusive group of reporters and industry insiders at Apple's Silicon Valley headquarters.
Apple really made us wait, but this rapidly diminishing glimmer of pleasure was totally worth it. It was 100% better than any other temporary joys I've ever experienced.
And in this week's local news, an uneasy détente forms between a man sitting on a patio and a bee. In other news, a poll finds 80% of Americans would get in a vehicle with a stranger for a chance at a new life. Bank of America introduces a new $50 underdraft fee, and the nation's huggers announce plans for you to get over here.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Welcome to Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. So all you have to do is dial in toll-free here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Also, you can sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us by calling on our Discord on-air call-in lines, which you can do by going to discord.lrn.fm. You will need the Discord app first, and then you'll sound great, and it's wonderful. In fact, in the studio here tonight, we got a bit of a different Sunday night crew. I'm Ian, and you are?
I'm Laurel Scott.
And I'm Michael Hampton.
So, Laurel, our listeners from last week will remember you. You appeared for the first time last week
I
on
sure
the
did.
Sunday night show. You're an immigration attorney by profession, but you're also no stranger behind a talk radio microphone, having been interviewed on places like WPHT in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Is that where you're from? Is the Philly area? Or?
I'm from South Jersey. I went to law school in Philadelphia. I lived in Houston for 13 years, but yeah, I spent a lot of time in Philadelphia.
And you're a relatively new mover to New Hampshire.
Yes, I moved here in July.
In fact, you just told me literally moments ago that you have fired a gun for the first time.
Very first time this morning. I did a pistol, a rifle, and a shotgun.
Where did you go? Was it just like the backyard? Or
No. There was a program through the NRA, women. Oh. It's a women's shooting program.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Ladies for, what's the group? Pink Pistols? No, that's the gay.
Second Amendment Sisters?
Second Amendment Sisters? Is that what it was?
No, it was, I'll have to look it up for you,
Okay.
but it was through the NRA, and it was a women's program right here in Keene.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't even know they had any place you could shoot in Keene. Everybody around here just shoots in the woods or whatever. I guess there is some kind of a gun club somewhere in the area, but I've never actually been to it because
I went through this morning.
We've got the woods, but that's cool. And so, what was it like? I mean, was it?
I was scared to death.
Really?
I was just afraid of it. I was afraid I was going to kill somebody.
What did they start you with? Did they start you with a .22 caliber?
Yes.
Okay.
We started with the pistol.
The good news is, if you don't point the gun at somebody, you won't kill them.
That's what they told me. So it seemed to have worked.
And of course, you're from New Jersey, so it makes sense that you've never been around a gun, right? Like
right.
The gun control in New Jersey is, it's notoriously bad.
Yeah,
as I understand it. So congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
cool.
you.
And of course, gun rights and the ability to bear arms and other weapons is relatively strong in New Hampshire compared to many other states. So that's one of the nice things about living here. And of course, I've been here since 2006. There's other states that have good, respect towards guns, but they don't also kind of get it on other issues. And it's nice to see New Hampshire in the same year in 2017, not only making it so that you can concealed carry without a permit here, which is what they call constitutional carry, but you can also, or they also decriminalized small amounts of cannabis possession as well. So we got both gun freedom and some drug freedom, and I would say we're probably going to see more on that front.
Yeah, just don't mix the two.
Time. Oh, indeed. Yeah, it's usually a bad idea. Michael Hampton, longtime listeners may remember your name. You used to be... is the site still up? Homeland Stupidity? Is it still there?
The site is still up. I really haven't updated it, though.
Yeah, I feel like it has been a while since there's been something fresh up there.
It may come back, but it's had an issue where you've probably heard a little bit in the news about the Facebook purge.
Yes, we talked about it in detail on Friday night here.
So what happened to Homeland Stupidity is it kind of got blacklisted by Google around 2012 or so. They stopped sending search traffic.
Oh my God. Why?
And they said the site was spammy. And it's the same. It
wouldn't have had malware on it. I mean,
no,
you know what you're doing when it comes to admitting a site.
I'm pretty sure it's the same BS excuse that they're using these days with the Facebook purge, because those guys weren't spamming.
That was total BS. Yeah. the Facebook thing was total BS. It was totally about punishing these sites for drawing people away from Facebook, getting users to leave Facebook to go to the Free Thought Project or Cop Block or whichever ones. There were hundreds of these sites taken down. They were mad. They actually said in their press release or in their blog post that they didn't like that there were advertising on the websites that people were being linked to. Because they want to sell all the ads. They want to keep you on their platform so they can sell ads and, again, just keep you there. They don't want you to leave.
Right. So what happened to Homeland Stupidity was probably one of the earliest instances of something like this, because it was in 2012. The ad revenue just immediately dropped like a stone. The traffic dropped, the ad revenue dropped, and that was pretty much the end of it.
Well, it was a good run.
It was a really good run. The archives are still there. I'm keeping those up indefinitely.
Cool.
And I think at this point it still brings in $10 a month of ad revenue, but that's down from about $3,000 a month at the high.
Oh, that is a big difference.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I just wanted to kind of give our listeners a little briefing on who you guys are. Also, you're the programmer behind CryptoTip, which we've talked a lot about here.
That's me.
On Free Talk Live, CryptoTip.org, which is where you can go to print out printable cryptocurrency tips that you can leave in either Dash or Bitcoin Cash. Leave for your server or, your bartendress or the person cutting your hair or, the bad guy at the
anybody
airport or
you
whatever.
want. I mean, change the message. You can do whatever you want with it. Give it. I mean, it doesn't even have to be for a service. It can just be, I want
just
to
a gift.
Give you a gift, or I want to show you how cryptocurrencies work.
I would put it in a like a birthday card or a stocking stuffer or something like that. You don't need an excuse to do this.
Yeah, the holidays are coming up, so.
So, open phones as always. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. We got immigration-related discussion on the way here tonight, but we're going to start with kind of some breaking news, or relatively breaking. Apparently, the S hit the fan in Portland. You said, Laurel, last weekend there was some kind of fervor and violence or something?
Last weekend there was a protest by Antifa regarding a police shooting, and the police had blocked off some streets so that Antifa could protest, but then Antifa went out into streets that were not being blocked off and was harassing bystanders and blocking traffic, etc.
And I heard the mayor just let it happen.
Yeah, the mayor just sort of let Antifa basically run the city for a day.
Because there's a law on the books in pretty much every place called disorderly conduct. And I am a big critic of this law generally because it's written so vaguely, so nebulous, to where if the cops just don't like you, they can essentially charge you with disorderly conduct, and usually they'll get a conviction. The way that these things, at the very least in New Hampshire, are written, I'm sure it's very similar in other places. But there is at least one part of disorderly conduct that makes sense, and that is the idea of if you're blocking traffic, you are committing disorderly conduct. You're, getting in the way of other people trying to go about whatever business they have or whatever pleasure they have. They're trying to go from point A to point B, and you've decided you're going to block that off. Well, that makes sense to make that an actual, punishable thing. You shouldn't be standing in the road blocking traffic. And this I say as somebody who has a long history of doing protest actions. I mean, I've been in the streets, but I don't stand in the road. I'm on the side of the road. I'm not blocking traffic. I want people who are on the road to actually want to read the sign that I have, because if I were to stand in front of them, then they would be so angry that they would absolutely hate whatever it is. Even if my ideas were the greatest ideas ever, they would completely reject them out of hand because the way I was presenting them was about as rude as you could possibly get.
And they went a lot further than simply blocking traffic. They were telling people which way to turn, and one man turned right when they didn't want him to turn right, so they chased him down the street. He stepped out to try to talk to them. It was an elderly man, and they punched him in the face.
Wow.
It was pretty violent.
And then so now apparently there's been a follow-up event. This happening according to the Oregonian at OregonLive.com. A demonstration billed as a march for, quote, law and order, unquote, in the streets of Portland descended into chaos as rival political factions broke into bloody brawls downtown last night. Members of the right-wing group patriot prayer, and their black-clad adversaries, known as Antifa, used bear spray, bare fists, and batons to thrash each other outside of Kelly's Olympian, a popular bar on Southwest Washington Street. The melee, which lasted for more than a minute, ended when riot cops rushed in and fired pepper balls at the street fighters. And then there's video footage here of the brawl actually happening. The Portland Police Bureau reported seeing protest and counter-protest participants outfitted with hard-knuckle gloves, knives, and firearms earlier in the evening. Police said they made no arrests Saturday night, but will continue to investigate. The toll-free number here, so besides squaring off and getting pretty violent, what's this all about? If you want to comment, you're welcome to join us. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, Free Talk Live.
Hey, you? Yeah, you. Your imagination is limitless. Your potential is limitless. We create websites, mobile apps, and animation. Let's design your story. SunstoneDigitalTech.com. 20% off. Quick, call 888-211-7519. We are digital. Call now, 888-211-7519. Sunstone Digital Tech. Limited time, limitless digital experiences.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink, like we have. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.Global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.Global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses on the setup page, and then load the app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.Global. AnyPay.Global.
Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power. But there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial on in here toll free if you want to join us on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. And in addition to that, you can join us on our Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Just head over to discord.lrn.fm and then join one of those call-in line rooms. Make sure you don't have your mic muted like the current person who's waiting to get on in there, and then we'll put you on the air. And you'll sound almost like you're sitting in the studio with us. It's Ian, Laurel, and Michael in the studio. We're going to your phone calls. But first, I do want to let you know about Bitcoin.com. And Bitcoin.com wants you to know about Save It Purse. SaveItPurse.com, SaveATPurse.com. That's how you can save big time on your Amazon purchases. And when I say big time, no joke, 20% off. That's what I choose every single time, at least. I could go lower, but why? I mean, if I can get 20% off of everything I purchase at Amazon, I'm going to do it. The catch is you have to use cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, BTC, or now Bitcoin Cash. So you can now use BCH, Bitcoin Cash, to deposit into your account over at Bitcoin.com. And the idea is you're selling your Bitcoin Cash to somebody who's willing to pay 20% more than what the spot price is in order to get that Bitcoin Cash. What they're doing is they're ordering the thing you want on Amazon and sending it to you as a gift. So once the thing arrives, you just simply indicate that you received it on the site, and then the buyer gets your Bitcoin Cash from the escrow. And you've saved 20% or more. I've done 25. I've done 29. I've actually gotten 33% off before. So it's amazing, and it works so well. SaveATPurse.com. That's SaveItPurse.com. Let's go to the phones to your calls and thoughts, and then we can talk more about the violence erupting in the streets in Portland. I keep thinking Maine, but it's not Maine. It's the other Portland. Portland on the West Coast in Oregon. Let's go first, though, to Laura in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Laura.
Hi.
Hey there.
I am previously from Portland and Salem, Oregon.
Okay.
Now living in New Mexico. And at the time I was there, it's been 15 years. It wasn't quite the mess that it has become, but it has always been the liberal, center for Oregon. And as a longtime shooter, NRA instructor, I've always invited people who go out there and protest and hold the signs, women specifically, to just come and shoot with us for a day. And now out here in New Mexico, we're doing the same thing with the Well-Armed Women's Group. We just finished our Sunday shoot today. We do it once a month. We have 3 ladies that we've invited who were former, I don't know if I'd really say serious activists, but they were always out there on the street with the signs when the little groups would gather, not in a violent way, but in a loud way, certainly. And 3 of the people that we've invited to come and shoot with women only have now joined our group and enjoy it as a sport and don't see it as an assault on their freedom.
So wait, you're saying that these were
family activity.
You're saying that these were people who were formerly protesting guns that were invited to come out and shoot?
Yes. Yes.
And so a little bit of compassion shown towards them rather than hatred or anger. Managed to, you invited them to join you and do something together. It changed their mind.
Civility.
Yeah.
Civility works.
Yes, it does.
Civility. Come out and try it. See it as something that's an inexpensive way. 22 shells are cheap.
Yeah.
Do it with your family. Pack a picnic. Spend the day at the range. We bring families when we invite these people to shoot. And it becomes, for some, not all, many have called back and thanked us for having them out there, and they'd like to come back. But 3 have actually joined now the Well-Armed Women Group of Four Corners.
That's awesome. Congratulations on that, Laura.
It just takes that civility. You can sit and argue with someone and use the same canned arguments that you use for pro-Second Amendment, and it's not going to change their mind because they've heard it 50 times. But spend a couple hours with them, show them how to use it, start with the 22, build up to larger calibers, and let them feel empowered by that. We've made some changes.
That's a beautiful story. I'm glad that you shared it with us here tonight, Laura. Anything else you want to share?
No, I love what you're doing. Listen to you every week.
Thanks for the call. I appreciate hearing from you. And Laurel, you had actually it's nice that she called in about that because we didn't have any reason to go back to what we were talking about before. But you thought of the name of the women's shooting group that you went to.
Yes,
today.
It's called Women on Target. It's the instructional shooting clinic for women. And if you go to the NRA website and type in Women on Target, you'll find some of these clinics that are near you that are just for women.
Right. So women instructors, women attendees.
Most of the instructors were men.
Oh, really?
They were very supportive. They were very patient. They were very egalitarian. I had a good experience.
Cool. Was there a cost involved in attending?
It was $50.
Not bad.
I believe that the instructors were not paid. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
I believe the $50 was mostly for the ammunition and for the refreshments they gave us. So it was mostly volunteers who were teaching us. Yes.
So if you want to join us, the toll-free number, 855-450-FREE like freedom. We continue. CJ is on the line listening, I'm not sure, somewhere on the internet. CJ, go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, from the I'm actually listening live from the XBLN Bully Network studio where I'm simulcasting your guys' show on my network.
Hey, but, awesome. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? And I forgot to send you that email, Ian. I'll do that. Make sure you have the link to put on your site. But,
perfect.
I was yeah, no problem. Yeah, I was calling because I was talking to James Whittakind on Discord, LRN.FM Discord yesterday, and he accused me of being a coward because he asked me specifically to call in to my quote-unquote heroes, Minister Freeman and Minister Edgington, and get myself and him, I guess, on the phone simultaneously, so I guess he could either threaten me live on the air.
He can't because I banned him, so he's banned for 3 months. So for listeners who aren't familiar, this guy he's talking about, James, is basically a nut job who has been calling in with actual threats of violence. He used to kind of beat around the bush, and he wouldn't actually come right out and like threaten violence. He'd say things like, "Sure would be a shame if your house burned down," that kind of thing. And he's actually gotten into just coming right out and doing straight up violent threats, like going to murder you and bust you up against the pavement, and all kinds of violence. And so it was getting to the point where some of the co-hosts on the show, Daryl was taking his headphones off, Mark was like not responding at all, and so we had to institute a new rule saying that there will be no threats on the air here on Free Talk Live. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of rules on Free Talk Live, and I let it go for a very, very long time. But I told James that if he makes another threat, and or insults, because again sometimes he'll just call up and just straight up insult a host, and it's like, come on, call about something real. And so I told him that, and then he of course immediately insulted somebody right after I told him no more of that, and so he's banned for 3 months. So I'm sorry he cannot call in at the same time as you. We will not be doing any conference calling with James Witt, but he, as you know, he is there. He's still allowed in our chat server, so we have a special room set aside for him. We created it just for him. It's called the Toxic User Zone. It's not safe. It's not safe for work. And so if you want to talk with James Witt, that's definitely the best place to do it. But CJ, other thoughts you want to share? Go ahead.
No, well, it's just interesting that James Whittakind actually only called me a coward for not calling in. He didn't tell me that the reason why you haven't been taking his calls is because he was banned.
But that's only over the last few days. He got banned last week, so he hasn't been banned for very long at this point.
Oh, okay. Well, this was just yesterday that it happened, so it's just really interesting that he didn't mention that. I think that's really interesting that.
CJ, what's your handle on the Discord?
Oh, my handle is Turd Ferguson.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for the call tonight. More coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
Hear that? Sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. Embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live Sunday edition of the program. You can dial in toll-free here, take control of the airwaves, and bring up whatever's on your mind. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got our Discord on-air call-in lines that are open and available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. With you in the studio tonight, I'm Ian.
I'm Laurel.
And I'm Michael.
By the way, I want you to know about Zencash rebranding to Horizon. Zencash, one of the more exciting cryptocurrencies out there, but they decided that it was a much larger vision than just a great private or potentially private crypto, because you can use it with privacy turned on, and it's got zero knowledge anonymity, which is great privacy tech. But it was more than that. It's also private chat. They want to, down the line, from what I understand, they're looking to make it so you can browse the web privately on the Horizon system somehow. That's coming. I'm not sure when. And then also, they've got more plans in the future. So they've expanded the vision, and so they renamed it. It's Horizon. Go to horizon.global. It's still called Zen. The crypto aspect of it is still called Zen, but HORIZEN.global. We're doing giveaways of Zen. In fact, we've got 1.75 Zen to give away this week. The giveaway is happening on Wednesday. You can get involved in this. All you have to do is send an email. This is how you enter the contest. You email Daryl at freetalklive.com and include your Zen address in the email. In the subject line, you need to put a number between 1 and 999. Daryl has chosen a number between that range randomly, and so whoever it is that is closest to the number that was chosen will get the 1.75 Zen that we'll be giving away on Wednesday. So head over to horizon.global to learn more about Horizon, HORIZEN.global, and get your Zen wallet installed. And so then you can send that email with your Zen address to Daryl@freetalklive.com. And again, put in the subject line a number between 1 and 999. All right, so we started out here talking about briefly this story from OregonLive.com about a brawl that apparently broke out during a protest or a march of some sort called a Law and Order March. So I presume that's the right-wingers coming back, because it was last weekend when apparently people on the left, the Antifa group, blocked off traffic in Portland and made a big to-do, and people got delayed and probably got pretty angry about that. Was there also violence that erupted in Portland, or was it they pretty much just blocked traffic and then went away after a while?
I mean, there were isolated spots of violence, like the one that I described, where they punched the man in the face, but I don't think there was any type of melee or brawl. Exactly. But there were angry mobs running after people.
And apparently there was a brawl. The statement here from the, Oregon Live is that it lasted more than a minute. And it looks like, according to the video footage that I'm looking at here, there are a couple of sides squaring off against one another. Maybe, there's several, I would say a few dozen people that are fighting in this case. And they're sort of in the streets and running across the street.
And this is from last night.
Yeah, this is late last night in Portland. The Portland Police Bureau reported seeing protest and counter-protest participants outfitted with hard-knuckle gloves, knives, and firearms earlier in the evening, but they did not make any arrests. At this point, the wild scene unfolded amid mounting tensions among both groups, fueled in part by a pair of national news stories. It says that a march against police brutality last week drew headlines after law enforcement's hands-off approach to the event was blamed for an encounter between protesters and an elderly driver, which is the one that you were talking about, which outraged many, including Patriot Prayer leader Joey Gibson and his supporters. On Friday, a viral video surfaced showing members of the Proud Boys, a right-wing fraternal organization, beating 2 or 3 protesters in New York City after an event at the Republican Party headquarters. It was against this backdrop that Gibson, who counts a number of Proud Boys among his ranks, organized the so-called Flash March for Law and Order in PDX, ostensibly to protest Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler and his oversight of the city's police force. Waving American flags and breaking into patriotic chants, Gibson and several dozen supporters set off to a street memorial for Patrick Kimmons, a 27-year-old black man shot and killed by police, an incident that prompted last week's march. As they arrived at the vigil on Southwest 4th Avenue and Harvey Milk Street, they were met by a large group of counter-demonstrators chanting Black Lives Matter. The two sides exchanged taunts and threats as police stood by and warned against physical confrontation. But about 20 minutes later, the violence erupted a few blocks away among a smaller group of participants. And so that's kind of the story there. So apparently you've got the right-wing group, what was it?
Patriot Prayer.
Patriot Prayer, which is not the same thing as the Proud Boys, but there's a mixing between the two. And then you've got the other group that was protesting police violence. And so Patriot Prayer made an appearance at the protest against police violence, and then things escalated, apparently, at that point.
Although it doesn't sound like they escalated very long. The whole article makes it sound like Portland just erupted into a
violence.
melee.
Yeah, it was just
and
a
then
fight,
you see
street
this
fight.
one little line saying, it was about 60 seconds. So something did happen, and that is significant, but the press, it's almost like the press wants it to happen.
Oh, yeah, of course they do.
Because it sells them whatever they're selling.
People are going to tune in. They're tonight at 11, see the footage. So the press definitely wants to see violence happen. This means a lot to them, but I don't support violence. I don't think violence is the solution. It's unfortunate to see people feeling like that's all they have left, because usually that's sort of what happens is, people they get upset about something and they feel like the other side is trying to force themselves upon their viewpoint, and that's generally true about the other side, whichever other side we're talking about. Whoever it is that's in charge of the government for the moment will have people arrayed against them, and they want to get their people in so they can force their viewpoint down the other side's throats. And this is what we see is the violence of the government continues changing hands in the political power and the structure, whether it be the Republicans or the Democrats. And then, one side tries to attack the other side, and then the other side takes over and attacks it's just a constant cycle of abuse.
Well, seeing what I saw last week in Portland, what happened this week is no surprise, really. And, I'm not a big advocate for police, taking over or anything, but they really needed to stop what Antifa was doing, because Antifa was harassing bystanders on the street.
Yeah.
And you watch it, and I saw a lot of commentators saying, people aren't going to put up with this. People are going to put a stop to this. And so this is no surprise. And once again, I don't condone violence at all, but this is not unexpected. This is exactly what we thought would happen.
You're saying the right-wing group coming out in response isn't a surprise? Is that
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Something was going to happen because people were watching what Antifa was doing and saying, why aren't the police stopping them?
Do you think it's true that, because I've heard this said, and I don't know if it's true, but do you feel like it's true that people are more polarized today in the United States than they were 10 years ago?
Yeah, actually, Tim Pool did a really good video on this, and he was drawing looking at a study, I think it was by the Pew Research Center, but I'm not 100% sure, but it was showing that the left and the right have, like 10, 20 years ago, were actually had more in common than not in common, but they've been moving further and further apart. So yes, it has changed. And I think there's a lot more violence now than there was before. Actually, Jonathan Haidt said last week, he had an interview with Ben Shapiro, and he said that he now believes a civil war is possible. He's not saying it's likely.
People have been saying that for a long time.
I said that 10 years ago.
Right?
I stand by it, too.
You think it's going to happen?
I think it is more likely now than it was then.
Between what sides?
That's the problem.
Well, here's... I don't know that it's going to be a big civil war between half of the country and another half of the country. I think what's going to happen is we're going to have insurgencies. We're going to have small groups of people who are going to do a lot of damage. In fact, we're starting to see that already. That's what this is over in Portland. It's just the beginning of it. And those insurgencies, once they start getting more and more violent, that's very hard to stop.
Who do you think they're going to target? I mean, if you're talking about an insurgent group, are they going to go, attack a gun club, or are they going to attack the government, or who is it that they're going to be insurging against?
It depends on what they're angry about and who they are blaming for whatever the issue is.
Whatever group of the moment.
Exactly.
Basically.
Exactly. And you'll see, back, I lived for a year in Belfast in Northern Ireland at the very end of the 1980s when the war was still going on there. So you had the IRA fighting the UVF.
Yeah.
And so they were mostly fighting with each other, but sometimes, people would get caught in the crossfire. So we could be looking at something similar to that.
All right, the toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE if you want to join us. You can weigh in here. Do you think the predictions of the Civil War are overblown? Of course, it's not going to look, if it is some sort of civil war, it's not going to look like it looked like in the past with people with uniforms on, right? Squaring off on a battlefield.
This will be completely different.
Yeah. And it will be hard to discern which sides are who, and so it'll be difficult. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
This November, I'm running the New York City Marathon as a member of Team Innocence Project because I'm a passionate supporter of their work. 2018 has been a banner year for the Innocence Project. Since January, 9 of their clients have walked free. Innocent people who combined to serve more than 200 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. And because of the Innocence Project, the risk of being wrongfully convicted has been greatly reduced for millions of people. October 2nd is International Wrongful Conviction Day. It's an opportunity to draw attention to the countless innocent men and women who remain behind bars and the need to reform our broken criminal justice system to prevent wrongful convictions. At any given time, the Innocence Project represents 200 clients who need their help to prove their innocence. This year, the Innocence Project helped pass a first-in-the-nation prosecutorial oversight law in New York and eyewitness identification reforms in New Hampshire and Louisiana. You can help the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
Extendivite is more than just a heart tonic. Do you have any of these symptoms? Night cramps in the hands and feet. Your arms and legs often go to sleep. On short walks, do your legs get aches and pains? Is your memory worse than it used to be? Ankles that swell late in the day? Has your blood pressure increased lately? If you answered yes to even one of these questions, you may have early warning signs of arterial blockages. Your body is saying that it is time to take Extendivite. These are not the normal signs of aging. They are the warning signs that accompany blocked arteries. Get your Extendivite today. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial on in here, toll free. Take control of the airwaves at 855-450 free, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Big thanks, by the way, to Paul Barnes, who is one of our longtime Free Talk Live amplifiers. He gives $5 a month to Free Talk Live so we can advertise, market, and promote the show. That's what AMP stands for, advertise, market, promote. It's money that we can invest into Free Talk Live so we can get on more radio stations around the country and bring more internet listeners on board, exposing new people to the ideas of liberty and peace and cryptocurrency and the cool stuff that we talk about here. So you get perks, like access to the AMP-only Facebook group, at least until Facebook shuts it down, and other AMP perks like access to the supporters chat rooms on our Discord server. You get a special AMP or Free Talk Live badge on our forum and more. Go get all the details and get signed up over at ampamp.freetalklive.com. And again, thanks to Paul Barnes and everybody else who amps the show. Really appreciate it. ampamp.freetalklive.com. Let's continue here. We've been talking about protesting in Portland. There's been some violence that has erupted, some of it as recently as last night. And are two sides squaring off here, or is it the beginnings of a so-called civil war? It seems like both Laurel and Michael in the studio here with me, I'm Ian, that you guys both seem to buy into this civil war narrative, that this may be right around the corner.
Well, of a protracted violent interaction that may go on for decades, but not necessarily encompass all of the country. However, it's something that we will constantly have to be dealing with.
Yeah, I hope it stays away from Keene, New Hampshire. Things are pretty peaceful here, so I prefer to not have to deal. I haven't seen any Antifa in the streets, and nor have I really seen any crazed right-wingers, except for Chris Cantwell. I saw him last night. But
he's back here?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's back.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I had a few drinks with him last night. It was an interesting conversation as usual. So we go to your calls and thoughts. We got Brian in Michigan. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Brian.
Hi.
Hey.
I think you guys are looking at this whole Portland thing wrong.
Sure.
And the main reason I say that is because I may be misunderstanding what's going on. But from what I understand, last week there was a protest that these people were protesting against the police violence.
Mm-hmm.
And everything went fine. Nobody went down there and no major violence happened. But then this week, there's a bunch of people that are out protesting in favor of law and order and in favor of the police, and a bunch of violence broke out.
There was violence last
The main
week.
question, but was it to the extent that there was this week?
It
'Cause
was
seems
different
to me-
because they attacked an innocent bystander, whereas an elderly man
Last
week.
week.
Yes.
Right.
This week it was a
But
group of
nobody ever asked
protesters
the
fighting
question.
in the streets.
Right. But when is somebody going to ask the question, why is it the left that is burning down cities and attacking innocent people? And then when the right goes and they want to have a protest, the left shows up and causes trouble with them.
Well, to be fair, to be fair,
the police protesters, the police guys were not protesting last week when the anti-police guys were there. They stayed home and let them have their day.
Right.
Then this week, the police guys are out there protesting, and then a bunch of anti-police guys show up and
okay, that's not the
there's a
way
fight.
it was. At least that's not the way the story was told in the news. Now, the news media gets it wrong a lot, so let's take that with a grain of salt. But the story was that the story was that the right-wing protesters came to where the anti-police or the police, whatever police accountability protesters were. So the right-wingers brought the law and order people brought their protest to where the other protest was happening. But regardless, that's fine. If you want to bring a protest to counter-protest, I don't think you should let someone have their day. If somebody's out there with a message that you don't want other people to hear, or you want them to at the very least hear the other side of it, it's entirely appropriate for you to go out there with counter-protest signs and peacefully counter-protest. So the question really becomes, who was it that started this violence? Because ultimately, things are generally peaceful with protesters and counter-protesters until somebody, throws a punch or until somebody does something to instigate others into violence. Now, I'm not excusing, people who escalate a situation because it likely came from both sides. Because when somebody throws a punch, the appropriate thing to do is to, restrict the fight from going further, hold both of the participants back, stop them from fighting, and try to break it up. In this case, everything escalated on both sides. But I think one of the things you'll find out is frequently, even if it's even if you can point to, it was one of them, it was the lefty or it was the righty, sometimes it's actually an undercover police officer who is an agent provocateur that has come in there for the purpose of causing a fight. And so it's really hard in some cases to figure out who it is that's responsible for these things.
Have there been incidents of that happening? Because I got to say I'm skeptical.
Oh, yes, there absolutely have. Yeah, I don't know if that was the case last night, but there are definitely times when not only have the police been caught red-handed with undercover officers, again, masquerading as though they're on the protesters' side, they do something like throw a bottle or do something to kind of escalate a tense situation with the hope that a fight will break out. So the police then have the excuse to come in and use violence against the protesters, because the cops get off on using violence. A lot of them do. They're excited about this. You may remember years ago we reported on I think it was the Democratic National Committee. They actually had cops who were wearing shirts. It was like police union shirts with this sort of glowering, ugly cop on the front holding a truncheon, smacking it against his hand, a nightstick or something like that. This is the image on the shirt, and it says, "We get up early to beat the crowds." The actual cops wearing shirts that said that stuff.
Little dark humor.
Yeah, admit, that is kind of funny.
It's funny, but it's completely inappropriate for a professional police force to be wearing T-shirts like that and tip their hand basically and say, "Yeah, we want to beat you. We're violent." I mean, that's what we do.
It's inappropriate, but it's still funny.
Oh, well, many things that are funny are inappropriate.
But it is hilarious.
Brian, any comments? Any other things you want to share tonight about the protests?
Well, it was just, these are some questions that immediately sprung to my mind as soon as I heard you guys talking about it. Because tonight, listening to you on my drive was the first time I'd heard this whole story. And it just, when you see a Tea Party protest and they clean up the National Mall as they're leaving, as opposed to an Antifa protest where they burn down half of your city? Why do people never ask these questions?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly inappropriate to leave a mess in a place in which you've occupied for a period of time. But it's certainly not, all people on the left. Maybe the Antifa are particularly messy, but I've been to HempFest here in New Hampshire.
But the whole Occupy Wall Street people, hey, we're going to show up without a permit, and we're just going to take over half of your town.
People shouldn't have to get a permit to protest. I mean, it's
I agree with
your
you,
right to protest.
I agree with you. But if you're going to charge the Tea Party a fee in order to have a big public event and force the Tea Party to provide porta potties and security and all that kind of stuff.
Well, that's what happens when you ask for permission. So here's your problem. If you are putting together a protest, Brian, and you ask for permission, then the government's going to come back with a set of rules that they want you to follow. Whereas if you gather, which is your right, if you gather in a public place, which is your right, that is supposedly protected under the Constitution's Bill of Rights, then you don't need a permit. And if you don't ask for a permit, then they can't require you to bring porta potties or anything like that. So that's what happens when you ask permission.
That's probably the difference between a rally and a protest.
Well, no, either way, you're asking for permission. I will never ask a government bureaucrat's permission to exercise my rights, because the moment you do that, you've converted your right into a privilege. And as soon as you've converted your rights...
I was like, God, I love you guys.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. It's the truth. And I think, it doesn't matter what your political perspective is.
I look at it a little differently. I look at it as notice. And
sure, but that's different than asking for permission.
Because if they deny your request, then I would go to court.
A request
and say,
isn't notice.
You can't.
A request is you're asking, you're entreating, you're begging, you're asking for permission.
If I'm applying for a permit, then I would view it as I'm giving them notice so they can prepare. And if they deny it, we're going to go to court, because I do have the right to protest, just as you said.
Sure, but but you've lost from the beginning, right? Because you're applying, which is to suggest that you think they have an appropriate level of control over this property, that you have to ask them for permission. Even though you're saying it's your right, you're subverting that by asking for permission in the first place. It's one thing to say give notice. Giving notice would be to send a notice to that department, the Department of Parks and Rec or whatever, saying, just to let you know, we're going to be here on this day and this time. Here's your notice. This isn't, that's not asking for permission. You're not filling out a form. You're not giving them money, and you're not going to agree to whatever terms they want you to agree to. Now, in some cities, that's going to bring you more trouble than, it might be worth. But regardless, then if you want to have a lawsuit, you can also sue when they arrest you illegally for, gathering in public, which is your right to assemble.
The point I want to make on that is that you may see it as notice, but they don't.
They don't. That's correct. It's an application. And, that has a very specific legal meaning. You're applying, you're asking, you're begging, you're entreating. Brian, great call. Thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. We can continue, though, and you can bring up whatever's on your mind, whether it's these protests, the supposed civil war. Is that really on the horizon, or has it already started?
I think it's
bags under the eyes, crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles are things adults complain about as they age. Now, there's Instantly Ageless. It works in minutes and is great for men and women. Here's Dr. Sonia Bacha on The Doctors.
So this is a product we're going to see if it works. It's called Instantly Ageless. And the idea is that it works very quickly, is you just need a very small amount, and then you apply it to areas where you might be a little bit puffy. I have just looked at what's in this product, and one of them is something called argireline, which is sort of a darling in dermatology right now. It's a peptide or a protein that actually relaxes the muscle. It's also called Botox in a bottle. The other active ingredient in this is silicates, which almost act like a clay. They're minerals, and they're making the skin sort of tighter. It's actually increasing the surface tension on the skin to push that herniated fat pad back.
Try Instantly Ageless today at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com. 30-day money-back guarantee and preferred price discount at GCNlife.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for the weekend of October 13th and 14th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.60 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,218 per ounce. Zen is trading at $14, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,279. Antiwar.com reports Saudi Arabia has been seen as virtually untouchable from a public relations perspective for years. Evidence of ties to 9/11 plotters and war crimes in Yemen have been sparsely reported in Western media, which has tended to have a very upbeat spin on Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. That did not come cheap, however. Saudi Arabia spends tens of millions of dollars annually on influence campaigns in the U.S. alone. As the outrage grows over the disappearance and probable murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, however, those dearly bought gains could be drying up. Among the biggest PR coups of 2018 was the WWE Greatest Royal Rumble in Jeddah. Estimated to have cost the kingdom tens of millions of dollars, the wrestling event was broadcast internationally, with the WWE repeatedly playing pre-made packages portraying the kingdom as a progressive place with modern values. Not that that went off without a hitch. The overuse of the video package had many mocking the fairly transparent propaganda. One top wrestler was denied entry into Saudi Arabia because his parents are of Syrian descent. The hype around letting women drive in Saudi Arabia was greatly undercut by them refusing to allow any women on the show. The second of the series of pricey WWE shows is scheduled for November 2nd in Riyadh. The backlash against Saudi Arabia, however, and the rising U.S.-Saudi tensions have raised reports that the show may be canceled outright. The WWE has neither confirmed nor denied, saying only that they are monitoring the situation. Industry reports suggest that there are contractual issues to be resolved. Either way, the show is likely to dramatically tone back the propaganda packages. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports a small but growing number of children under the age of 2 in the United States are not being immunized, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. A report on a 2017 immunization survey indicated 1.3% of children born in 2015 did not receive the recommended vaccinations. The figure is markedly higher than it was in 2011, when just 0.9% of those between 19 and 35 months received no vaccinations. The figure was 0.3% in 2001. The CDC said the availability of health insurance and the children's locations played a role in vaccination compliance. The report said uninsured and Medicaid-insured children and those living in rural areas were less likely to be vaccinated than those with private insurance living in or near a city. About 7% of uninsured children did not receive vaccinations, compared to 0.8% of children with private insurance. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports the Republican candidate for governor of Pennsylvania threatened to stomp on the face of his Democratic opponent in a social media video on Friday and then walked back his comments, saying he made a mistake in his choice of words. Republican Scott Wagner is trailing well behind incumbent Democrat Tom Wolf in the polls ahead of the November 6th election, and the video was posted on Wagner's campaign Facebook page as part of an acrimonious battle in one of the most populous U.S. states. Wagner said in the video, "Governor Wolf, let me tell you what, between now and November 6th, you'd better put on a catcher's mask on your face because I'm going to stomp all over your face with golf spikes." A few hours later, the video was taken down. Wagner explained, "I may have chosen a poor metaphor. I shouldn't have said what I said." On his Facebook page, Wolf encouraged people to share the original video if they agreed that Scott Wagner should not be the governor of Pennsylvania. Steve Scalise, the number 3 Republican in the U.S. House of Representatives, said, "These comments are totally unacceptable. As I've said many times before, there is absolutely no place in our politics for this kind of rhetoric." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Today's most popular video games take place in dangerous post-apocalyptic landscapes. But are these games doing enough to prepare our kids for the actual post-apocalyptic future we will all soon face?
Well, I think these games are quite effective at teaching our kids skills like finding shotgun ammo and leading elite squads of super soldiers.
But these aren't the advanced skills that they're going to need. They're going to need the more practical skills like how to find drinking water by collecting the morning dew in human skulls.
Or how to deal with depression when the sun is blocked out for 500 years by a cloud of radioactive dust.
Absolutely. Now, that's the type of knowledge these kids are going to need when their world has been turned into a brutal hellscape.
But these kids said that they know how to find items to barter at weapon shops and how to use medicine packs to heal zombie bites.
The games make it all seem deceptively simple. I mean, in the future, a kid's not going to be able to kill a 6-foot-long irradiated beetle just by pressing a few buttons. And he's going to have to get down there with an axe and hack and hack and hack.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free here. As we launch into the second hour of this live Sunday edition, phones are open as they always are. The toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we also have our Discord on-air call-in lines available to you. You do need to have the Discord app in order to be able to connect to those. Go to discordapp.com. Download it there. It's available for cross-platform, so whether you got a laptop or a smartphone or whatever, you can have Discord on there. And if you got the smartphone, it makes it the easiest because then you don't, if you've got a laptop, you got to have like a headset and other things. But if you've got your smartphone, it makes it so easy to call us on those Discord call-in lines. And then you'll sound almost like you're sitting in the studio here with me, Ian, and also...
I'm Laurel.
And Michael.
Let's go to your phone calls and thoughts. For those of you just tuning in, we've been talking about the Portland protests between Antifa and then a group of more righties. There's the Proud Boys, and then there's this other Patriot Prayer, I think was what it was called, that have been out in the streets. And apparently last night there was a fight that erupted out in front of a bar. It lasted about a minute, but there were several participants, if not more than a dozen, I would say, participants in the fracas, which led to a conversation about a potential civil war. Kelly, you're on Free Talk Live, listening in Missouri. Go ahead.
Hey, I like your show. I'm actually, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a conservative.
Okay, it's okay.
I like listening to both sides. I mean, I really do like listening to both sides, and I think some of the things you say is very practical.
Well, which side do you think we're on? Because this is not really one side or the other. We're certainly not righties or lefties here on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I didn't mean to insult you. I just feel like that you're very good about being in the middle. I agree with that, but I think it goes both ways. There's some things I agree with and some things I don't.
Right. Well, so one of the things that we kind of try to express here on Free Talk Live is that there's more to sort of the political paradigm or spectrum than just left or right or middle. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, if I were to tell you that I'm in favor of full drug legalization, but also in favor of full gun legalization, does that mean I'm in the middle, or does that mean I'm both on the far right and the far left at the same time? Like, what does that mean?
Well, I think what I would say that means to me is that on one of those issues I can agree with. On the other issue, I would throw it into the trash can.
So therefore, I'm just going to predict which issue you would agree with and which issue you would throw in the trash can. So you would agree with gun freedom, but you wouldn't agree with the freedom to put in your body what you want?
Yeah, it's because I agree in gun freedom that I wouldn't want to have drugs in me at the same time I had a gun in my hand.
I didn't say no. We're not talking about it at the same time.
No, but you know, I think you know where I'm going.
Well, no,
with
I don't
that.
know. I don't know exactly where you're going with it because, I mean, to me, this is the thing that I never understood, and one of the reasons why the movie Guns and Weed is such a great film, because it draws the parallels between both the gun rights activists and the freedom to, do with your body what you want activists. And the fact is, they both have the same exact problem, which is to say the state wants to restrict the thing that they like. Right? So whether it's shooting or the ability to defend yourself or it's the ability to modify your body chemistry, these are things the state says, you can't do that because we say so. And if we catch you doing it, whether it be, buying a sawed-off shotgun or whether it be buying, some LSD or whatever, then you go to the pokey and you go to the prison cell, and then everybody else gets forced to pay for it. So the problem that I want to criticize you on, and I realize you were going to make a point, and we'll get to it here, Kelly, in a moment, about the protests.
That'd be fine.
The problem here is that if you don't stand up for the rights of everybody to do what they want with their own body, then you shouldn't be surprised when your right to defend your body with, whatever gun or whatever weapon you want to is also not stood up for. So if you want to have your rights, you have to stand up for the rights of others. And you can't just throw it in the garbage because you don't agree with the issue or because, you might have some critiques about the way people decide to treat their bodies.
The government The government is going to come and they're going to say, well, we restrict this thing. Why can't we restrict this thing?
Yep,
and
they do that.
That's what they do. And they don't care about right or left. There's no right or left to it.
Well, I have a comment for you
sure.
on that. Okay, I can accept what you said, but here's the deal. I cannot support certain things like drugs and the freedom to do that. And I can't, and I'll tell you why. And I can't support, as an example, abortion and those things. And here's why. It's because, I'll give you an example. I took my kids to Colorado over vacation.
Mm-hmm.
We were in the downtown area of Colorado. I'm walking with my 4 and 8-year-old and my 15-year-old. I have 9 kids. So
wow.
I kind of take the drug thing as kind of important to me with 5 girls and 4 boys. But here's the deal. I walked by in the downtown area in front of department stores, walking on the sidewalk in a public place, and some people walk by me, and they blow some stuff out of their mouth, and in that was a big cloud of pot-smelling whatever. And, yeah, I have a problem with that because my kids don't deserve that. I'm a taxpayer, and it's not like I'm walking down the street shooting my gun off.
So wait a minute. Are you an I mean, it's definitely rude to blow smoke on somebody if that's what you're saying. If you're saying they blew a cloud of smoke directly at you.
But to be in defense, well, I see where you're going with that, and you're right about something. They weren't blowing it directly at me to insult me.
So you just happened to catch a whiff.
From the odor.
You just happened to catch a whiff.
Get away from the odor.
So, when you're out on the streets in a city, there are unpleasant odors that are present. I don't know if you've ever been to New York. There's frequently the smell of garbage.
Another example.
Well, no, hold on. You made your point, and I'm going to respond to it. There's frequently the smell of garbage on New York City streets, and let me tell you, I find that quite unpleasant, but it is what it is, and sometimes it's a smell of urine from some bum having peed over on the side of a building or something like that. That's pretty gross. Sometimes maybe it's a lady who's put way too much perfume on. She's walking by me. I don't really care to smell those things, but these are the things that happen when you're out in public places where we have tragedy of the commons, which is to say that these are places that are either, they're not owned by anybody. They're the government public property, and so therefore nobody's really in charge of it, and everybody kind of has to be allowed there, which means you're going to encounter some stinky people. Who knows what those smells are going to be. I don't think you would advocate that people should be banned from smoking cigarettes outdoors, would you?
Yeah, I don't like those either, to be quite frank.
But just because you don't like something doesn't mean it should be banned, does it?
Well, I'm not suggesting that I control whether it gets banned or not. The only way I control that is by voting at the ballot box for the issues that I want to hear and vote for and that I don't want to vote for. And I wish the whole country would decide to take it to the ballot box and just do that.
You're missing the point. You're missing my point. My point here is you are saying if you go to the ballot box and you vote for somebody that says I'm going to ban smoking outdoors because some people don't like the smell, it could be dangerous, it's for the children, or whatever rules, reasons they're talking about, you are voting for that level of control against your neighbors, and you shouldn't be upset when your neighbors do the exact same thing to you. That's the thing. You're putting it out there into the universe, so to speak, that you think it's okay to control your neighbors. So guess what? You're going to end up being the one who's controlled every time.
I didn't say at all I was upset. I think it's great that we have two sides to the coin. It's the same reason I can listen to
Wait,
your
I thought
show.
You were upset about the smoke in the streets.
No, I'm upset when it's marijuana smoke because that's not the same thing as a cigarette smoke. They both can do damage, but one makes you just a little bit fuzzy if you're around it long enough.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Are you saying
how long were you standing in that cloud?
We weren't, but if I was, and I could have,
this is the most ridiculous.
It's just uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable.
On its face, you're being absolutely ridiculous. I mean, look, you didn't get a contact high from walking down a public street and happening to smell a whiff of marijuana. I'm sorry.
I agree, but it's the point. No, I agree, but the point of it is that it could very well happen. So let me.
No, it couldn't happen. It really couldn't. You're not going to get a contact high from walking by somebody.
Let me give you an example. If I'm drinking booze and I want to splash it around and I want to influence people who are under the age of being able to have the booze, it's the same thing as this other stuff that they're walking around with and doing the same thing.
Huh? Are you saying you don't think somebody should be able to drink alcohol outdoors?
No, I'm telling you this. I'm telling you that if people want to go to the ballot box, out here in Missouri and in the Midwest, when you get away from the cities, you get a more practical person in life. You get a guy who's actually working. They're not unemployed. They're not doing all the things and protesting because they don't have anything else to do.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's everybody, but there is a percentage that is. And you know what really kills me about the whole thing?
I don't know, but hang on. I'll let you say that here in a moment. Hang on, Kelly. We'll bring you back because you're on a roll here. He's on a roll. He wants to defend his right to go to the ballot box to tell you what to do. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, because somebody told him what to do sometime.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Your imagination is limitless. Your potential is limitless. We create websites, mobile apps, and animation. Let's design your story. SunstoneDigitalTech.com. 20% off. Quick, call 888-211-7519. We are digital. Call now, 888-211-7519. Sunstone Digital Tech. Limited time, limitless digital experiences.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, the live Sunday edition of the program. We've got open phones for you. If you want to dial in toll free, you can. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. It's Ian, Laurel, and Michael in the studio here tonight. And coming up in a couple of weeks, basically, 2 weeks from today, we will be at the Texas Bitcoin Conference. Free Talk Live will be broadcasting from the 4th Texas Bitcoin Conference, as we have done for the 3 prior to that. So it's going to be fun, as it always is, to see great speakers like Paul Pui from Airbits, now known as Edge Wallet, and Bruce Fenton. Lynn Ulbricht, the mother of Ross Ulbricht, will be there speaking. So glad to hear that, because it's always fun to see Lynn. I mean, it's never good to see her because she always has terrible news about her son, but it's still nice to see her. TexasBitcoinConference.com. You can go to get your tickets now. The full schedule has been posted at TexasBitcoinConference.com/schedule. It's happening October 27th through the 28th in Austin. So I'm going back to where you just came from, Michael. Again, October 27th and 28th. We're 2 weeks away from the Texas Bitcoin Conference, and this is going to be a great year for Texas Bitcoin Conference, because the Bitcoin conferences, they're kind of different depending on what the price is doing. Like if the price is going crazy, there's all these newbies that show up. And if the price is down, like it's kind of been a little bit this year, then it's the hardcore Bitcoiners who are there, the ones that you can count on every single time, the programmers, the marketers, the people who are in this through the thick and the thin. So the kind of the atmosphere of these conferences changes based on what's going on in the Bitcoin world. And either way, Texas Bitcoin Conference is always a good one to go to. It's not too big. It's not overwhelmingly large. There's, you can still see people and recognize people and meet new people. TexasBitcoinConference.com. We'll see you there. As we continue here, Kelly is still on the line with us in Missouri. You were calling for an original reason we never even got to, but you were driving at some kind of point. You were trying to make a point about the ballot box or whatever a moment ago, and I wanted to make sure you had a chance to get to that, and then hopefully we can get to your original comment since we sort of went off the track.
Well, I would just say where the ballot box is concerned, it really gets under my skin. It happened in Ferguson. And it happened in California when I used to travel to Long Beach for a company I used to work for. The inner cities and where the metropolitan areas are out east and a lot of them out west, the same thing that they're blaming white people and different color than black people. When they're blaming that we are a society breakdown, I look at who's been running those cities and running those areas for years. I mean years, and it gets under my skin because they want to blame and kind of make all of these mob right wing people look like they are nothing more than KKK and walking around and doing all of that. But there are people out here in Southwest Missouri that are hardworking people, whether they are white, black, whatever, and we don't seem to have a problem. There isn't anybody parading around in the crops in my field, and there's no one coming down my road, and there's no one. But when they can get under the limelight of CNN and Fox and all the other places, and I'm blaming right and left and everything, when they can get the national exposure of media, which media has been driving this charade of an upheaval of our country and a riot that's about ready to begin that can go to civil war. They have been feeding this narrative ever since they couldn't stand Trump. Now, whether you like him or not, he was a duly elected president, and he is elected by the country. And I think you would maybe agree with me.
Well, he was elected by a minority of the country. I mean, every president is always elected by a minority, right? So if only about half of the people are voting, if only about half of potential voters are voting, and then only about half of them actually vote for the winner, you're talking about it's not a mandate. You're talking about maybe a quarter of the population of the country. But either way, might doesn't make right, and people voting for a thing doesn't make it okay. Whether we're talking about Donald Trump or whether we're talking about Barack Obama, or whether we're talking about an ordinance banning guns or an ordinance banning, possession of a pipe or whatever. It doesn't, it's not okay for me to tell you how to live your life and force my viewpoint on you with violence. And it is still not okay if I find 10 of my friends to come with guns and point them at you and tell you got to do your, live your life this way. And it doesn't matter if it's 51% of any given area's population, it's still not okay.
Well, I totally agree with you, but here's the big thing. I agree with a few things that you said there. I actually do. I think you're right. Violence upon violence doesn't produce anything. Dialogue produces conversation, which can produce something. But here's what I would say as well: that unless somebody wants to do away with the Electoral College, which we've never been able to do, unless anybody wants to take the Constitution and throw it out the window. Well, then we're
can
stuck.
we really?
Because we can't.
What a great idea!
Let's get rid of the entire federal government. Can we do that?
Well, that's something that you can do as long as they keep running the narrative that they're running. I mean, they're trying.
No,
to
I'm asking. Do I have your support? Can we agree that we should just end the experiment and end secession? Missouri should secede. New Hampshire should secede. We should have 50 different countries. What do you say?
Well, that's going to be a voting thing that you can do under the Constitution if that's what you want to do.
You can't do it under the Constitution. Actually, no, you can't do it under the Constitution because there's no exit clause. There's no way out of the Constitution.
Texas had some voting going on recently to try to secede from the state. California tried to divide up into three.
Texas didn't. Texas didn't vote on that, and California, the three thing, didn't make it to the ballot because the Supreme Court intervened, and so the California Supreme Court.
Once again, if it did make it to the ballot, you could vote on it. You could do whatever you want. I mean, we are in a country. I mean, whether we like it or not, this is a country under
that's just an imaginary idea.
For a very long time.
Okay, so you can believe whatever you want. And Kelly, thank you for the call. It was a good one. I really appreciate the discussion. You can believe whatever you want. I mean, he said we're in a country. Well, if enough people believe in that idea, then yeah, okay, then it's real to you. To me, it's just imaginary lines on a map that were drawn by people who have long since died.
It's pretty real when you cross the border.
Sure, there's men with guns there. There
yeah.
are men with guns who firmly believe in the idea of the nation state.
Yeah, and I just did that a couple of weeks ago. I had to hand this guy this blue book with my picture in it. And
was this in Niagara? Didn't you go to Niagara?
Yeah. Coming back was actually, it took 30 seconds. But
really?
Yeah.
So it was harder to get into Canada than to come back?
Yeah.
That's unusual. Most of the time, the story is the reverse, that it's harder to come back in than it is to get in.
Absolutely no issue with customs. They seem totally uninterested in me.
Despite the fact that you created Homeland Stupidity, the blog. Apparently, they didn't know that. That didn't pop up on their profile of you. So, yeah, I mean, so now this is a bigger concept, right, Laurel? The idea that the nation state is just a pure fantasy. and that if people stopped believing in that, then they would go away.
Yeah, but you could say that about just about anything in culture. You could certainly say it about money. You could say it about...
Of course you could. Yeah.
Just, the roads, why are we all driving on the same side of the road? Just everybody agrees that that's the correct side.
Well, there are things that people agree to because they're a good idea, like driving on the same side of the road.
So how is that different from having a federal government?
Well, it's a terrible idea. That's an idea. Any government, whether they be a federal or state government, is nothing more than an excuse for people who you don't know to use violence and the threat of violence against you. That's all it is. The government is nothing more than a group of criminal thugs who have successfully managed to fool people into thinking that there's something more, special than what they are, which is just a very successful criminal gang. There's more coming up, though. If you want to comment, you're certainly welcome to, although we've got actually a load of calls, so we got to get to that, too. Your calls and thoughts here. Welcome. Free Talk Live.
Ever wonder how Bitcoin and Ethereum were created? Vercel Media has helped hundreds of companies and individuals make their own cryptocurrency. Decentralized blockchain solutions are making the world more transparent and giving power back to the people. Vercel Media has helped companies raise tens of millions in the past year alone, structuring and marketing ICOs to the thirsty crypto public worldwide. Don't miss the cryptocurrency revolution. Visit vercelmedia.com, VERCEL media.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Despite being objectively awful people, newly engaged couple Ross Bird and Jessica Black want their upcoming wedding to really reflect their personalities.
We're pulling out all the stops to have the kind of wedding that just screams us.
Yeah.
We're going to have a bluegrass band playing 80s pop songs. Because Ross loves bluegrass, but I love 80s music.
And then at the end of the ceremony, this is great, we're going to pass out sparklers to all the guests.
Sources claim that a bunch of candles in mason jars and an Instagram photo booth will truly capture the essence of the insufferable pair.
We didn't want some big stuffy ceremony.
Yeah,
it should feel more like a fun dance party with our friends.
Because the night's about us, yes, but I mean it's also about the people who make us us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And those people love us exactly for our uniqueness.
Sources hoped with every fiber of their being that these two would be divorced within a year.
This is the Onion News Network.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free, take control of the airwaves here. Our number for you is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got our Discord on-air call-in line rooms available to you at discord.lrn.fm. Libertarians for a long time have wanted a great website they can use to find other pro-liberty businesses. Michael, you've been in web design in the libertarian world for a long time, and you might have seen some of the half-hearted efforts in the past at this to create like a libertarian business directory. Well, finally, there's one that's actually worth using. It's really nice looking and easy to use, and it's free. You go to liberty.menu, easy URL too, liberty.menu, and you can put your thing that you do or the things that you do up on that site. So if you offer a consulting service, if you do web hosting like Michael does, or IT tech, or you've got a physical storefront, or you've got a convention that you organize, or maybe you're just a digital content creator. Laurel, you're doing a YouTube channel now. What's your YouTube channel called?
The Truth About Immigration.
You can check that out when you get a chance. So whatever it is you're doing, whether you're a creator or whether you're a business person, if you're a liberty-minded person, you ought to be listed at liberty.menu because, again, it's totally free. So unless you want to not have anyone know that you're a libertarian running a business, and I could understand in some places you might not want people to know that, but if you do want people to know and you want to get some potential new business from other libertarians, this is the website to go to. But you do have to be an individual who rejects the initiation of force and agrees to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. If you agree with that, then you qualify. So go to liberty.menu and get started over there. You can use code FTL, by the way, like Free Talk Live, and that'll get you a special Free Talk Live listener badge at liberty.menu. Let's go to the phones. To the phone, we talk to Travis in Michigan. Travis, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Laurel, and Michael. Hello?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, how are you guys doing?
Good. You're on the air.
Good. Just was calling about your conversation with Kelly, the last caller.
Sure.
And I think if you're comparing the Second Amendment to like the drug issue, you're sort of comparing apple and oranges.
How?
I don't totally agree with the previous caller. I don't think it's about smelling marijuana walking down the street or the contact high. I think that's silly. But the Second Amendment is a right, and I think there's there's definitely, I mean, it's just protected different. There is laws we have, like driving's not a right. There's things that
Well, let me ask you this.
that aren't right.
Let me ask you this. Are the rights that are enumerated in the Constitution the only rights we have?
No, they're not.
Have you heard of the right to have you heard of the right to property and the right to pursue happiness?
Yeah.
Okay, those are in the Constitution, right?
What's that?
Those are in the Constitution, right? Your right to pursue happiness, your right to property, your right to contract.
That's right.
Right. So therefore, along with the Second Amendment, which protects your right to defend yourself, all of those rights are ostensibly protected and enumerated to some extent in the Constitution. If it is my pursuit of happiness to have the property that I want, to say, let's say, marijuana, then shouldn't that be my unassailable right?
Let me jump in just for a second because
Sure.
I got a C in con law.
What's con law?
Constitutional law.
Okay.
Pursuit of happiness, isn't that Declaration of Independence?
Is that in the Declaration?
Yeah, that's not the Constitution.
Well, whatever.
Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter, though, right? Like, they're both outlined in two of the most important documents in
It's
the
still
United
a
States
very
history.
strong American principle from our founding fathers.
The right to pursue happiness.
And like,
Yeah.
I mean,
And that
I
can
think
include having a gun,
marijuana,
too,
there's-
right? Sorry, go ahead, Travis.
No problem. But there's just definitely, I guess the issue I have is there's definitely drugs that are, it's not just something that is going to affect yourself, but like even in high school, you remember I do, the kids tripping on acid, running down the road, thinking the clouds are chasing them, and it becomes, and I'm not talking about the issue of marijuana. I think that is something that probably should be legalized. But
okay. So you're concerned that you're concerned that some people on some drugs are going to behave in a bizarre way, are going to behave in a potentially dangerous way.
I think we are a republic, and there is a law.
Hold on now. Hold on. Wait. Have you ever had a drink of alcohol?
Yeah.
Have you ever had a lot of drinks of alcohol?
Very rarely.
But you have. Have you ever had enough alcohol to where you've done something you've regretted?
Oh, God.
Oh, yes.
We could be here all night.
No, I don't think I have.
Really? How old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay, all right. I would say most people by your age in life have had at least one experience where they've had way too much alcohol and did something they regretted, whether it be something they said to another person or something they did, they broke something or whatever, or even worse, got behind the wheel of a car and actually put other people in danger. But my point here is alcohol is far more dangerous and far more widely used than many of the drugs that you were talking about. Safety, as far as the use of hold on here. So there's been studies done on this, and I would refer you to Professor, I think his name is David Nutt, great last name, I know, N-U-T-T. He's a former drug prohibitionist from the UK, and he actually did, I think he's got a PhD, and he did research on the harm to the individual and the harm to society by various different drugs, and looking at heroin, looking at alcohol, looking at LSD, looking at cannabis, looking at, you name it. There's like probably 20 different drugs on his chart. And believe it or not, LSD was one of the safest drugs on that chart. Alcohol and heroin were the top two. So I just, I don't buy the claim, nor do I think that the fear that somebody's going to do something and do something stupid is rationale to prohibit that thing. So if that were the case, then you would be arguing to bring back alcohol prohibition, and you wouldn't actually want to bring back alcohol prohibition, would you?
People can go and they can have a drink of alcohol without. You don't take it.
I can take a half a hit of LSD and have a wonderful afternoon and walk around and enjoy the beautiful clouds and colors and everything, and I'm totally fine, dude. Have you heard of microdosing? It's a thing.
Yeah.
Have you heard of microdosing?
Maybe so. I mean, yeah, I don't think the government should protect us from ourselves.
Okay, good. So then you would support the complete legalization of all drugs.
I like Ron Paul's argument on this.
Yeah.
Is that
I don't think I would.
Okay, so you just said two things that were completely contradictory. You said you should be able to put things you want in your body, and then a moment later you said you want to keep drugs illegal.
Well, I said I understand that I am. That it seems like it's contradiction, but
it is.
I would have to do more research.
That's fine. There's plenty of research. I'll point you to a place. Travis, here's where you should start. Here's where you should start. Start with the folks over at Law Enforcement Action Partnership. All right, so these are mostly former cops. It used to be an organization called Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. That was the original name. So they kept the acronym LEAP and they changed it to Law Enforcement Action Partnership, and that's because they've expanded their purview. They used to just be against prohibition. Now they're against like police militarization and prohibition and some other things that cops shouldn't be doing. So this is a group of former cops, mostly. There's a few active officers, but mostly they're retired, who've come to the conclusion, hey, this whole drug prohibition thing, it doesn't work. Not only does it not work, it creates the opposite of the intended results, like we saw with alcohol prohibition. What was it, 100 years ago now that we had? Yeah, it was 1917, I think, was when they started that craziness.
1919, I think?
Somewhere around that time. So it's about 100 years since alcohol prohibition started. And it was a terrible idea then, and it's a terrible idea now. And those guys at Law Enforcement Action Partnership, they got all the statistics. If you want to do the research, they got it, and they got the opinions and the expertise of being the enforcers. Many of them actual drug cops, state police, chiefs of police, people who've been on the enforcement side of the war on drugs, and they've seen the damage that it's done, and they've seen the lives that they've made worse, because it's bad enough to be an addict. It's a tragedy enough to be addicted to drugs. But go ahead, throw an addict in a jail cell, make them lose their house or their apartment, lose their job, then they get out of jail and they have nothing left. You want to turn them right back to drugs? That's the way to do it. Thanks for the call, Travis. Start with Law Enforcement Action Partnership. Their website is leap.cc, and I think you'll be very interested in what you find. There's more coming up here. This is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening in your home anytime, anywhere. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadati.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free. Take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Also, the Discord on-air call-in line rooms are open and available over on our Discord server at discord.lrn.fm. The chat room in there is hopping, as it always is, with folks who are either sometimes commenting on the things we talk about, but other times not so much. I think people are talking about the Johnson Weld campaign, apparently, in the chat room, as though that's relevant. By the way, I do want to make sure you know about the Free Talk Live AMP program and throw another thanks out to Rapture. Some of the folks up here in this area may recognize that name. He's a Free Stater who made the move to the Keene area and I think has since moved out to Manchester. But a longtime Liberty lover, longtime supporter of Free Talk Live. He's an amplifier of the silver level. And so big thanks going to Rapture. And again, you can join him and about 200 other listeners as Free Talk Live amplifiers by going to amp.freetalklive.com, ampamp.freetalklive.com. As we continue here, joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
I'm Laurel.
And Michael.
Laurel, you wanted to finish a point that you were just getting into. We've been talking kind of, we ended up getting on the topic of drug prohibition in relation to gun bans and gun restrictions, and I was trying to kind of draw the parallels between the two for some of our callers who couldn't quite see that, but you wanted to make a point about Ron Paul.
I wanted to finish my thought. Yes, Ron Paul had said that if they legalize all of the drugs tomorrow, you're not going to run out and shoot up heroin if you haven't been doing it before. The only people who are going to continue using the drugs are people who were using it when it was illegal.
Right, because the fact is prohibition probably doesn't scare a whole lot of people away from trying something they really want to try.
If it's a bad idea, it's a bad idea.
Yeah. And heroin isn't always a bad idea. It is a useful product in a medical circumstance as a painkiller. Mm-hmm. There was a reason why it was invented and marketed, for a time frame. And of course, there are other opiates that have been since then purported and widely used. It is a bad idea to use it in a recreational manner, typically, because people tend to get pretty addicted to it. And when it's illegal, as it currently is, it's incredibly dangerous because then you might end up getting doses that are inconsistent between different illegally manufactured batches. And that's how you usually get overdoses. When people overdose, it's almost never because they intended to, right? Because if you want to overdose on something, well, you can do that. Go buy, a bottle of aspirin and take them all. You'll probably end up dead. It's not hard to do an overdose if that's what you're intending to do. But most overdoses on illegal drugs like heroin happen when the person is not intending to. They just bought another batch of heroin from their same dealer, or maybe a different dealer, presumed it was the same consistency that they had before, but oops, it was 10 times the potency. Well, you just took 10 times the dose that you were expecting to take because you didn't know any better, because it's not a product you're buying off the shelf where you know exactly how many milligrams are in the pill. You have no idea what it's been cut with. You have no idea through how many hands it has passed.
So would you want it to be regulated?
Oh, God, no. No, of course not. What you want, if you're a liberty-minded person, is for the market to self-regulate. So the reason we have, if you go into Walgreens or, your local drugstore and you buy aspirin off the shelf, the reason why you can be sure it's really aspirin in the bottle is because of the marketplace. It's not because the FDA is out there keeping you safe from Bayer or Advil or whatever. It's because Bayer and Advil or the generic drug manufacturers want you to have a product that you can count on, that you know what it is. If they just randomly sold you some crap that you didn't know what it is as aspirin, you probably wouldn't be a very happy customer if you survived the experience, and you might want to let your friends and family know to not shop at Walgreens because they're selling a something killer, that something is going to hurt you instead of the aspirin. So the market has all the controls that are necessary to make sure that people can stay safe because of competition, because we can critique and we can protest and we can boycott and we can spread the word about bad actors in the marketplace. Whereas when you have government regulators in the picture, all they really do is add costs to manufacturing and research, which is one of the reasons why pills are so expensive. Prescription medications are so expensive because they have to go through billions of dollars worth of FDA mandates that in a lot of cases end up keeping useful drugs off the market. Rather than actually allowing them in. And frequently the FDA and other regulatory boards, whether it be the FDA or the health inspectors, the restaurant association or whatever, they end up being staffed by the very same people that they're regulating. So a lot of cases it's called regulatory capture, where in a lot of cases, some executive, CEO of Pfizer just retired. Well, guess what? He now shows up on the, the board at the FDA. And so, of course, he's going to protect his buddies in industry from any upstarts or any newbies or, smaller companies that don't have the billions of dollars they need to get through the regulatory process.
But then to play the devil's advocate.
And you're good at that.
Yes. You start to run into problems when everybody in the industry is doing the same thing, when they're all playing the same game and then the competition doesn't work. To give an example, when I spent a summer in Bolivia with a family there, and they would fire up their stove with gas that they would buy in a tank. And everybody who sold the gas would add water to the tank. And you never knew how much gas was actually in there because you can't tell by feeling it.
Because it's weight, yeah.
And you couldn't just protest them because they all did it. You couldn't, so the competition wasn't working. They would need the government to step in.
No, you wouldn't need the government to step in because that's the market opportunity. That's a signal to people in the market saying, hey, there's money to be made here. If you can offer a product that is a better product at a similar price, then you could take some of the business from the people that are watering down their product.
But then there's a reason why that's not happening.
Well, maybe there is a reason why. I don't know what the entire regulatory system is like over there. It's likely that it is likely a regulated industry already, would be my guess. If you're talking about a hazardous material or a potentially explosive material, there's a good chance there's already some regulatory body.
I don't know what kind of regulations they would have on that, but I do know that they're going to have a lot more corruption than you would normally have in other places.
At least that you would like to think that you would normally have in other places. The corruption here tends to be less in your face, but it's very much present. Right, so you can pay a bribe to a cop in another country pretty easily, from what I hear. But around here, you can't just pay the cop directly because they'll arrest you for that. But it's still the same process. Ultimately, whether you're paying the cop directly a bribe or you pay the fee to a courtroom later on down the line after you've gone to trial, you're still paying money into the group of government gangsters that are ruling over your life, to tie back around to the discussion we were having earlier. But let's go back to your phone calls and thoughts here. We've got Steve. He's in Detroit. Steve, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Laurel, and Michael.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Hey, Steve,
appreciate
thanks.
it.
Yes, sir.
I want to piggyback on the guy that just called about the drugs. I do think there are some drugs that, unlike the drugs that you guys are talking about, do cause people to become extremely violent.
Okay.
I mean, in a way where they can't be controlled.
Like alcohol?
No, not.
Okay.
I've been a paramedic for 21 years.
Yeah.
And I've never seen a drug. In some areas of the country, they call it flakka. Up here, I think they call it like K2 or spice.
Oh,
or
yeah.
salt.
Yeah.
Yeah, this type of drug, it shoots the body temperatures up to like 105 degrees.
So these are synthetic.
Yeah.
These are synthetic drugs that.
Correct.
When you say this type of drug, it's actually, you're oversimplifying, as you probably know. A lot of these drugs are very different. They're essentially
they're conglomerate of a lot of different drugs. Yeah, correct.
Right. They're trying to make drugs.
I'm not sure the chemical compound of it, but there's a lot of different chemicals in them, and I think they come from China. But I've never seen the body react the way I've seen as a medic for 21 years. I can deal with drunks all day long, and I can deal with people on heroin. We can fix that. But people that are on these drugs, these synthetic drugs, and I'm not sure what their compound is, but the violent level, that tasers don't work on them. I've seen them actually pull tasers out, and they become extremely violent. I mean, violent to a point where we can't even go in until the law enforcement actually either subdues that. In a lot of cases, nothing really works for them.
Here's the crazy thing about what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I've seen this when I was in jail for civil disobedience. There was a guy who came in who was on some of this stuff, and it was insane what he was doing. I won't get into detail on that, but my point that I wanted to make on this is, some of these are pretty scary. These are experimental chemicals that don't have a whole lot of history. I mean, we've got decades of experience behind the use of things like LSD or MDMA, some of the more traditional illegal drugs. These are new, relatively new within the last decade or two, and more popular within the last decade. And the reason why these synthetic drugs exist is because of drug prohibition. So because drugs have been prohibited, well, what you had happen was these Chinese companies, or whoever it is, but some of them definitely come from China, they manufactured these, I think the chemical analogs is the term. They're very, very similar chemical structure to, say, THC or to MDMA or to whatever it is they're trying to ape, but they changed the structure slightly to where it's not the illegal one. Oh, they only made this chemical structure illegal, so this slightly tweaked, modified one isn't the one that's illegal, so then they can manufacture that, and they spray it on some herb, and they put it into stores, and they call it K2 or Spice or whatever name of the moment. And so ultimately, the reason why those things were produced is because people couldn't get the real thing.
I disagree with you on that one. I do, because I don't think because it's illegal, people don't stop using it.
Yeah, no, you're right. People don't stop using it. That's true. However, there is a certain group of people out there who would rather buy the legal version of the thing because they feel safer if they're buying a legal version, but the fact is they're in greater danger because we don't know what these things do long term. Steve, thanks for the call. More coming up.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value, made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They show pride in every stitch. Guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for the weekend of October 13th and 14th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.60 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,218 per ounce. Zen is trading at $14, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,279. Antiwar.com reports Saudi Arabia has been seen as virtually untouchable from a public relations perspective for years. Evidence of ties to 9/11 plotters and war crimes in Yemen have been sparsely reported in Western media, which has tended to have a very upbeat spin on Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. That did not come cheap, however. Saudi Arabia spends tens of millions of dollars annually on influence campaigns in the U.S. alone. As the outrage grows over the disappearance and probable murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, however, those dearly bought gains could be drying up. Among the biggest PR coups of 2018 was the WWE Greatest Royal Rumble in Jeddah. Estimated to have cost the kingdom tens of millions of dollars, the wrestling event was broadcast internationally, with the WWE repeatedly playing pre-made packages portraying the kingdom as a progressive place with modern values. Not that that went off without a hitch. The overuse of the video package had many mocking the fairly transparent propaganda. One top wrestler was denied entry into Saudi Arabia because his parents are of Syrian descent. The hype around letting women drive in Saudi Arabia was greatly undercut by them refusing to allow any women on the show. The second of the series of pricey WWE shows is scheduled for November 2nd in Riyadh. The backlash against Saudi Arabia, however, and the rising U.S.-Saudi tensions have raised reports that the show may be canceled outright. The WWE has neither confirmed nor denied, saying only that they are monitoring the situation. Industry reports suggest that there are contractual issues to be resolved. Either way, the show is likely to dramatically tone back the propaganda packages. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports a small but growing number of children under the age of 2 in the United States are not being immunized, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. A report on a 2017 immunization survey indicated 1.3% of children born in 2015 did not receive the recommended vaccinations. The figure is markedly higher than it was in 2011, when just 0.9% of those between 19 and 35 months received no vaccinations. The figure was 0.3% in 2001. The CDC said the availability of health insurance in the children's locations played a role in vaccination compliance. The report said uninsured and Medicaid-insured children and those living in rural areas were less likely to be vaccinated than those with private insurance living in or near a city. About 7% of uninsured children did not receive vaccinations, compared to 0.8% of children with private insurance. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global. Reuters reports the Republican candidate for governor of Pennsylvania threatened to stomp on the face of his Democratic opponent in a social media video on Friday, and then walked back his comments, saying he made a mistake in his choice of words. Republican Scott Wagner is trailing well behind incumbent Democrat Tom Wolf in the polls ahead of the November 6th election, and the video was posted on Wagner's campaign Facebook page as part of an acrimonious battle in one of the most populous U.S. states. Wagner said in the video, "Governor Wolf, let me tell you what, between now and November 6th, you'd better put on a catcher's mask on your face, because I'm going to stomp all over your face with golf spikes." A few hours later, the video was taken down. Wagner explained, "I may have chosen a poor metaphor. I shouldn't have said what I said." On his Facebook page, Wolf encouraged people to share the original video if they agreed that Scott Wagner should not be the governor of Pennsylvania. Steve Scalise, the number 3 Republican in the U.S. House of Representatives, said, "These comments are totally unacceptable. As I've said many times before, there is absolutely no place in our politics for this kind of rhetoric." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Thank you, Jode. I appreciate you taking up this issue.
Berto, if a man ain't cooked crisp on the Hellfire Desert, ain't he ought to be left on his own?
Well, right, Jode. Immigrants are desperate for a better way of life.
We need the strongest of these crude backward browns to keep us all alive. I see the ones that can swim the Rio Grande, too. Berto, you swum that border river to get here, ain't you?
Jode, not all Mexicans came here by swimming the Rio Grande.
No. I got sympathy. I crossed Huron Lake in a barrel myself using hands as paddles. Lived off the carp. What jumped at me? Now, you swum that river,
no,
ain't you?
Jode, actually, I was born here.
What you know about hard work? Ain't never swum no river.
Many immigrants, they
I say you ain't never knowed a man till you seen his teeth. Show him your teeth. Too many teeth rotting out shows you're dishonest in the mind. You got strong manful teeth, Barto. I apologize.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of this live Sunday edition of the program. Of course, you can take control of the airwaves toll-free, bring up whatever is on your mind, and that number for you is 855-450, free like freedom, 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. You just jump into our Discord server. You can chat with other Free Talk Live listeners, because it's more than just you can call in. That's just something you can do during the show. But 24/7, there are chat rooms there with people talking about various different things. And sometimes there's people in there at 5 in the morning Eastern Time, because it's actually an international audience. We got people in, Australia who are in there talking, and for them, 5 in the morning here is the afternoon where they're at. So the chat's there for you always over at discord.lrn.fm. Joining you in the studio here tonight in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, it's Ian.
I'm Laurel.
And Michael.
We're going to go back to your phone calls and thoughts, and then if we get the chance, we're going to talk about some immigration stuff in a little bit. But first, to the phones, we got Carl on the line in New Jersey, listening to WPG in Atlantic City. Hello, Carl.
Hi. Ladies first, Lauren.
Laurel.
Michael.
Close, though. It's Laurel, yes.
Oh, Laurel, I'm sorry. Well, anyhow,
a lady and two gentlemen, let me say it that way. And what I'm calling about is yesterday afternoon at noon, I was outside a convenience store going to walk in, and I saw a Cub Scout, 3 of them there and 2 den mothers. And I don't know why I stopped and asked them, how many girls you got in that troop? And she proudly said 2. I looked at her and walked into the convenience store and spoke to 4 people in there, and I told them my thoughts on it, and they all agreed with me that there shouldn't be any girls in that Cub Scout troop. And I did notice when I stood outside for a while, nobody was buying anything from them. So before
what were they trying to sell? Was it like the popcorn tins, the sausages, like that kind of stuff?
All different
chocolate
things.
bars,
popcorn.
Yeah,
all kinds of things.
Okay.
And I told them, sorry, I can't support your group, and I don't agree with you.
Really?
And also when I was
you actually said that in front of the Cub Scouts?
I probably wouldn't have said that to children.
Yeah.
That seems a little inappropriate. It's not their fault.
Maybe so. Yeah, but my point is, it seemed like the community wasn't buying stuff from them, and I wouldn't either. But I was the one that actually told them I would not support you, and I would not support. I didn't tell them this.
And did you say why? Did you tell them why you wouldn't support them?
They knew why.
Well, now wait a minute. No,
you girls in their troop.
Okay, I mean, you could extrapolate that, I suppose. But if you're a customer or a potential customer and you give bad feedback, which is to say not enough information to the person that in order to make a decision, you haven't really given useful feedback. If you just say, "I'm not going to buy from you," and then they storm off.
They already knew. No, I didn't storm off.
You're saying they already knew because you asked earlier about how many girls are in the troop. Well, again, like I said, you could extrapolate from that, but it's not a real clear reason why you won't buy from them.
You could assume and probably be correct, but you can't be 100% certain.
Anyway, so your reasoning is you would have supported them if they were just boys, but because the Boy Scouts are now the Scouts of America or something like that. I forget what they did a rename earlier this year or late last year.
They let girls in.
Right.
Yeah, they're letting girls in now.
This is even younger. This is the Cub Scouts.
It's the same organization, just so you know.
Yeah. Right, okay. But I didn't also tell them this, that I will not support any place that will give money to them, any charitable organization. I didn't tell them that.
So wait, where were they out front of a grocery store?
Either. Well, actually, if you want me to name it.
No. You can just generally say the name of the...
A convenience store that has gas pumps.
But wait a minute. Why didn't you walk out of the convenience store without buying something if you were going to hold to your principles here?
No, that's different. I like their coffee on sale. $6, $1.06 for any size.
So there you go. That's what your principles are worth. $1.06.
I've got a question for you. What is it exactly that the Cub Scouts are doing that girls should be excluded from?
Well, let me put it this way. They're going to go out of business because if nobody else will support them.
That's not a responsive answer. That's not what he had asked you at all.
Ask
it again, Michael, if you don't mind. Hold on, Carl. I want to make sure you understood the question. Go ahead.
My question is, what activities are the Cub Scouts doing that girls should not be allowed to participate in?
Well, who knows? But I don't think boys and girls should be together doing it.
That's what it is. Okay, so do you you think there's something inherently wrong with boys and girls being in the same club?
Yeah, when they both have different sexual organs, let me say that.
What does that have to do with whether or not they can, I don't know.
Everything.
What are they doing, Cub Scouts? Like build a fire? Put up a tent?
If I can jump in, I was actually very much against the decision.
Go ahead. I want a woman's perspective.
Yeah, I was very much against the decision by the Boy Scouts to let the girls in, and there's a couple of reasons why I was against it. First of all, I do think that there's a value in doing same-sex activities, and it's not that I'm afraid something bad is going to happen to them if they get together. It's just that I think that there's a value of boys being with boys, girls being with girls. There's also a value of them being together at times as well, but I think it is a different experience, and you should have a variety of different experiences, and having a same-sex experience is different from a mixed-sex experience.
Yeah, I think that's true.
The Girl Scouts were doing the same things as the Boy Scouts, and I heard a lot of my friends when when this change was made, saying that their Girl Scout troops were lame. They were bad. And my argument in return was, but the troops are run by the people in them. If it's lame, it's because of you.
Were you ever in the Girl Scouts?
Oh, yeah. We did fantastic stuff. We had great troops.
Wasn't there more girly things that Girl Scouts were more likely to do?
We did prim camping. We did winter camping. We built fires. We did all of those things. So we were doing the same things that the boys were doing. We were just doing it in an all-girl environment. And I think that there was a value to that because maybe if the boys were there, we would have been more timid.
Could have been uncomfortable.
Exactly. Yeah. So there was a value for us being in a same-sex environment. So I have to think, I've never been in that position, but I have to think there's some of that for the boys as well, where there's a value to them being in a same-sex environment.
I don't disagree with you on this. I think that, obviously it's their organization. They can do whatever they want with it. If they feel like that's going to help them get more members or bring more revenue or resuscitate a dying organization, maybe that was some of the things they were considering.
I agree it's their decision and it's their organization, they can do what they want, but also by letting the girls in, one of the things that's going to happen is there's going to be a decreased enrollment in the Girl Scouts. Which was because they'll start going over to the Boy Scouts. And so that was actually the theory of a lot of people of why they made that decision. It wasn't so much politics as economics. They needed more membership.
Yeah, I wonder about that. Thanks, Carl, for your call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. We did talk about this issue when it came up initially here on Free Talk Live, and I tend to agree with you. There's room for all of the above, right? So if there's going to be a boys-only scouting organization, a girls-only, and a mixed, why shouldn't there be more than one, right? Let people make that choice. Some of the girls may want to join the Boy Scouts, but I bet you most of them won't want to because, it could be really uncomfortable. The boys are going to change their behavior, no doubt about it. I mean, I can only imagine what, the difference would be between having an all boys, in one room, for whatever the scout meetings they have, and then all of a sudden there's a girl in there. It's like every single one of them is going to be trying to impress her. There's going to be a whole shift in the interactions.
Well, I send my daughter to an all-girl boarding school.
For a reason.
And one of the reasons is that there's been studies that the girls tend to do better in math and science when they're in an all-girl environment.
Really?
And so I think that if there's a value to the girls having a same-sex environment and we want to allow that, then we have to allow boys to have an all-boys school and that environment for them as well. It's only fair.
I suspect, and again, I don't have kids, so I don't look into these things, but I suspect there is an all-boys scouting organization that if it didn't already exist, likely does now, because there are probably a lot of people who feel like Carl on this. There's probably a lot of people who've been longtime Boy Scout supporters who, they're not against girls or anything, but they just didn't want to have them in the Boy Scouts, and they said, you know what, we're just going to do our own thing. I'm just speculating. It's got to be the case, right? There's enough demand for a boys-only organization out there. I bet there's somebody screaming at their radio like, here's what, yelling the name of this organization right now. I bet you it exists. I just don't know what they're called. Maybe they call themselves the Boy Scouts now because they can take. Can you take the old name or is it still trademarked? I don't know. 855-450-FREE if you want to weigh in here. Of course, you can bring up anything that's on your mind as well. 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live's Live Sunday show.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Your imagination is limitless. Your potential is limitless. We create websites, mobile apps, and animation. Let's design your story. SunstoneDigitalTech.com. 20% off. Quick, call 888-211-7519. We are digital. Call now, 888-211-7519. Sunstone Digital Tech. Limited time, limitless digital experiences.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up, and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com. The omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
My name is Angel Rach. I'm a mother of 2 teenage children, and I fought all the way to the Supreme Court for the right to use the medicine that saved my life. I've been permanently disabled for 10 years, with an inoperable brain tumor, wasting syndrome, and several other serious conditions. For 4 years, I was in a wheelchair, in so much pain, I couldn't even hug my kids. The hardest part was looking in their eyes and seeing how much they were suffering because of my medical condition. The medicine that gave me my life back and gave my kids their mom back was cannabis, also known as medical marijuana. With medical marijuana, I can walk, maintain my weight, and I can be a mom. Without it, my doctors believe that I would die. To learn more about medical marijuana, contact Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or on the web at mpp.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Take control of the airwaves. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms available to you on our Discord server at discord.lrn.fm. Your property and your family are precious. You can help protect them with Blink. And, in fact, we got the Blink motion-activated HD camera system here at the studio. Mark's got it set up at his house as well. They are super easy to get set up because they're wireless cameras. Unlike most security systems where you got to run wires through the walls and maybe hire a professional to do that kind of work, this you just unbox, you put the batteries in the cameras, you set the cameras up wherever you want them, and if you're if the angle's bad once you set it up, you just move the camera and it's no big deal because it's wireless. So it's super easy to do, and you set it all up via your Wi-Fi enabled device, maybe your smartphone or your tablet. And there's no contracts, by the way, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. That's because Blink is an Amazon company. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys and save an extra 15% by going to blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live, to save 15% on your Blink home security system. To the phones, to the fun. Let's go to Ryan in Arizona. Ryan, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing? I'm just actually calling in regards to a conversation you guys were having earlier with a member. I think his name was Trevor.
Yeah, what was it? What was that in regards to? I don't remember the call. That
was in regards to the gun laws or gun rights comparable to what we're able to do with our bodies.
Oh,
the
yeah.
kind of drugs that we have into our bodies.
Feel free. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch up on something in regards to you were asking this guy, kind of coming back with some good points about if he's ever drinking or if he's done anything regrettable.
Yeah.
And I get where he's coming from. I have a son myself, but I just want to say, like, if the worst thing that my son does if he grows up as an adult is smoke marijuana, I think I'm fine with that. I think I'm absolutely okay with that because there's nothing absolutely wrong with it. I think and I was one of those people just like him. I grew up, and I don't do it myself really, but I grew up and my whole family did it. A lot of my friends did it, and I stayed away from it because the government taught me that it was bad, and so I grew up with a negative mindset about it.
Right.
And now as I'm older, almost I'm 26, I realize that it's now that I actually tried it myself. That it's actually not as bad as they say it is. If, like those commercials growing up as my age, where they would say, you would kill somebody if you smoked weed, or you were deflated, or all those crazy like hoopla '90s commercials that I'm sure we all remember. Like,
this is your brain on drugs.
This is your brain on drugs. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, this is your brain when you're smoking like marijuana, and I believed it. I 100%
sure.
believed
A
that
lot of us did. A lot of us did.
Yeah, because that's what the government did to us. Like they told us, hey, it was bad, so we believed that it was bad, and then we criticized the people that did it, like, hey, that is illegal. That's horrible. Don't do that. But you have these people that are doing a lot worse things, like meth or things where they're injecting things that you can actually get addicted to and things that can actually kill you. Or things
people can get addicted to a lot of things, right? Like I can easily get a habit of eating ice cream every single night because, it is so good. So there's a lot of things you can get addicted to in this world, some of which are more deleterious to your health than others.
Now I want ice cream.
I do actually have some. If you'd like, it's in the freezer. But Ryan, so you've opened your mind. Who was it that introduced you, that got you to try cannabis after all these years of you believing it was bad? Because somebody had to change your mind on that, right?
Well, I'm the youngest out of three kids. And my oldest brother was actually he did it, but he was like, I don't want you doing it. You don't need to be doing this type thing. My middle brother, on the other chance, was like, I'm gonna taint you. Like, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna destroy your innocence with anything that I try. You're gonna go ahead and try it. And I think the first time I did it, I was about 15. And it was like not a bad experience, but it wasn't like it was. I was like, that's whatever. I didn't really enjoy it, but I still was like, you know what? Hey, I did it one time. I got in trouble for it. I'm never doing it again. And I didn't do it until recently, about last year.
Oh wow!
And and that was when it officially kind of hit, and I was like, you know what? And I do it maybe once a month, if that. But it took me so long to, because I would cast away family and friends after so long because of it, to the point to where, and this is the point I'm getting to, like, people will say, hey, well, drinking alcohol is fine if you're over the age of 21, because guess what? It's legal. How many people have died from alcoholism?
Countless.
Yeah, I lost my oldest brother to alcoholism.
Oh.
Great dude. It wasn't your typical like abusive alcoholic. Just loved to drink and drink, and eventually it killed his liver, and he passed away.
How old was he?
What? He was 30. 30 years old.
That's brutal.
And people will argue with you until they're blue in the face, saying, "Oh, alcohol is fine because the government says it's fine."
Wow. Yeah. Do people really believe that? I mean,
people
believe it.
It's so unbelievable. It's so crazy.
It's ridiculous. Like, people, because it's illegal, they will cast it away. They'll shun it away.
Yeah.
But people won't. Like me, I used to be that kind of person. I used to be that person who was like, "Hey, government says it's bad, so don't do it."
Right.
But people need to go through these phases and understand for themselves and make that decision and open their mind, because when I did, I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to do this every day," but there's absolutely nothing. Like, this isn't what I was taught at all.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't dose on LSD every single day, but a few times, here and there, every now and then, a few times a year maximum. I mean, for me, it's a very spiritual experience.
Exactly, and that's what led me. And I tried other things because of that. Other great experiences that the government would probably say, "Hey, that's bad. If you get caught, we're gonna get you in trouble." But once again, I've experimented with shrooms, and I don't know anybody that has ever been angry. Like, I had the best time of my life. Like, I was happy. Everything in my brain was peace. I just wanted to share it.
So I'd like to
world.
put in my standard disclaimer here, and that is that everybody who is actually considering doing any kind of mind-altering drugs really needs to take their time to research, and I highly recommend the website Erowid.org. Great call, Ryan. Thanks for sharing your experience and your story with us. I appreciate that. Erowid, EROWID.org. It's a sort of like a compendium of drug knowledge. It's not just illegal drugs, but prescription medications, plants, herbs, and of course the illegal drugs. There's a lot of information there. The drugs that obviously are more popular have more information. So if we talked earlier about the synthetic drugs, these kind of questionable, uncertain unknowns that have been manufactured by unknown companies in China. There's not a whole lot of information about those drugs, but the ones that have been around for a long time that have had millions of people using them and sharing experiences. And you can go and read people's trip reports. You can read bad trip reports. You can read good trip reports. You can get the whole spectrum of information. And none of those things are going to really tell you what some of these drugs are like, but at the very least, they will give you some kind of insight into some of the possibilities of what some people have experienced on them. And of course, there's a lot of frequently asked questions, a lot of good information about, how long do the drugs last, what you should expect, things that you should do to prepare yourself, to prepare your body, to do afterwards, to recover. There's a lot of information out there. Unlike, 20 or 30 years ago where you had to just kind of hear things from your friends, you can actually go and learn things now through the internet. And Erowid.org's got to be the best site for that. Thanks again, Ryan. We got more coming up here. Time for you if you want to join us on Free Talk Live.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. Embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free. You can bring up anything you want here. Live Sunday edition of the show. The number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. I mentioned at the beginning of the program, Crypto Tip. We've got Michael Hampton here in the studio tonight. He is the programmer behind Crypto Tip, and it is cryptotip.org. I came to you, Michael, and I said, you know what? You're a great programmer. You've been helping us out behind the scenes doing IT work for Free Talk Live for, I don't know, more than a decade now or something like that.
It's been 2000. I think we got hooked up in
because it was
late
before I moved here.
2005, early 2006.
Yeah, it sounds about right because it was before I moved here, and that was in late 2006.
It was before I moved here.
Right. And you've been great there, but you're also a talented programmer. So I came to you and I said, you know what, we need something to replace this Bitcoin tip. There was a great website called bctip.org, and it's still there. That allowed people to print out printable business card size tips to give Bitcoin to people. At the time, Bitcoin was hurting. It was the fees were going crazy. It was $5 just to send some Bitcoin to somebody, and it was getting really insane. So it became impossible to justify buying these Bitcoin tips because you'd have to pay for all these different fees. Just to get, Anyway, I won't get into all the technicalities of it, but that was what was motivating to me because we were using these things all the time here in Keene as sort of an activist outreach tool for cryptocurrency. But when I contacted the BC Tip guy and said, hey, are you going to add other cryptos, say Dash or Bitcoin Cash, he said no, he's not going to add any other cryptos, and then pointed out that his site was open source and he didn't care if we copied it. So I'm like, all right, let's do another version of this and allow people to choose. Let's not just do Bitcoin, but have other options on the table. And so you put together cryptotip.org.
I did,
and it's a great looking site, and it works well, and it allows you to send Dash or Bitcoin Cash to the site. It then generates a series of tips, printable tips. You print them out, cut them up, put them in your wallet or your purse or whatever, and then when you're out to eat and you want to tip your waitress or waiter, you should give a good cash tip. So leave your full cash tip that you would normally leave, 15-20%, whatever you normally leave, and then leave your Bitcoin Cash or your Dash tip on top of it. And that way the server will take you seriously. Because if you just leave this Bitcoin Cash tip or Dash tip and you don't leave any cash, they're going to be insulted. They're going to throw it away. They're never going to look at it. So you always want to make sure that you give a good cash tip on top and then leave the crypto tip there with that. Or like we were saying earlier, just print them up and give them out at the holiday season or for a birthday or something like that. To anybody that you want to expose cryptocurrency to, but especially time-challenged people. These were designed for people who are working, right? Like, you can give it to somebody in a birthday card or whatever. That's fine. There are different ways you can do this. But the intention was to give this to somebody who's busy, right? Because if you're at a restaurant or, there's a bellhop outside of a hotel or whatever we're talking about, wherever you would normally tip somebody, these are working people. They're hustling. A lot of times they're running from table to table or whatever. They're not going to have time to sit there as you give them a lecture about why cryptocurrency is so awesome. They don't have that time, so you just leave them this tip, and then when they're on their own time, when they get a break or they're off of work, they can scan the tip, they can go to the website, they can spend 10 minutes and read and learn about it, and then maybe create a wallet and redeem the tip. If not, you get the money back. If not, the crypto comes back into your wallet after the expiration period. So it works really well, and I recommend it. Go to cryptotip.org and print yours out tonight. As we go back to the phones, back to the fun. He's Brett calling from Missouri. Brett, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Laurel, and Michael.
Hello.
Hi there. You're on the air.
Okay, I want to talk about Brett Kavanaugh.
This is the new Supreme Court justice. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Well, I just don't think it's right to I believe in the premise of innocence, and I don't think it's right to pretty much make this man's life ruined just for allegations with it not being proven. Because here in the U.S., if you live here, you know that you're right. You're innocent until proven guilty.
You should be. Yeah.
By just pretty much these protests about him a rapist and him getting death threats every day. I don't believe in this. I think it's horrible, and he hasn't even been proven guilty yet. And on top
and he
of
never
that,
will be. He can't be proven guilty because he's not in a court of law, so there's no actual evidence. That's, I mean, it's just allegations.
And then also she didn't prove any evidence at first. It was just skewed. She didn't have any evidence where it was at, or she had somewhat of where it was at, or somewhat of a timeline, but it was
so you're referring to the accusations. I mean, for listeners that may have been under a rock and not heard about the story, this guy Kavanaugh, federal judge appointed to the Supreme Court position, there was all this controversy because some lady came out 37 years later and said that he had attempted to rape her at a party, some kind of high school party back in the early 1980s.
But she didn't have any information. She couldn't remember the day. She couldn't remember where they were.
Right. So she was probably lying, but so he was also probably lying as well because, well, he's a federal judge and it's likely. So, I mean, but I get where you're coming from, Brett, and I agree with you that, we've got a situation in this country where anybody who makes, especially women it seems, but anybody who makes a sexual assault accusation with no evidence to back it up seems to just be believed.
Right.
And I think there's a problem with that.
I want to jump in there because I think that some people are creating this false dichotomy where they're saying that if you don't agree with them that this man is not entitled to due process, then you're anti-woman. That if you think that he deserved the presumption of innocence, that you somehow don't care about sexual assault victims. And that is just a false dichotomy.
If you don't
believe in due process for Brett Kavanaugh and say, no, you have to have evidence and still support sexual assault victims, it's not one or the other.
Right. Look, the reason why we have due process is because there are false accusations out there, and I'd rather see 100 guilty people go free than one innocent person be put into prison. And if you subvert that process, if you subvert the idea of due process and just say, throw them in the clink, somebody said something, there's no evidence, then you've started down a very, very dark road. I mean, I'm not saying the justice system is great. It's not. There's a lot of problems with the so-called justice system here in this country. But anybody who's calling for the elimination of any kind of due process is calling for, essentially no justice whatsoever and just arbitrary rule of people with no evidence.
And
that's
due process should not only be something that we consider in a legal context, but also part of our culture. That just in ordinary society, for people's reputations, we should have this cultural principle of innocent until proven guilty.
We should. And, that certainly applies in the courtroom, supposedly, but what you're saying is it should apply culturally, meaning that the media shouldn't just pronounce somebody guilty just because somebody said something. Right. Thanks for the call, Brett. I appreciate you bringing that up. As we continue here, we got Pat in Michigan. Pat, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Oh, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Am I coming in clear?
You sound loud and clear. Go ahead, Pat.
All right. Yeah. Well, the first thing I wanted to touch on was a little bit about the Boy Scouts. I don't see a problem with the Girl Scout or the I don't know, what do they call the Cub Scouts that are the girls?
Okay.
The little ones.
The brownies?
I don't see the brownies, right. I don't see a problem combining those two because they really just have the den thing. They don't have camp outs. But once you start getting into the snuggling around the campfire age, I think you should probably draw a line. There's a place where boys should be boys and girls should be girls.
So you're saying mixed gender's fine at a young age, but if we're getting into the teenage years, then keep them separated, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, because it gets fuzzy.
Okay, I can see where you're coming from.
But the other thing
I think it becomes a preoccupation. Maybe there's some funny business, but and maybe not, but certainly a preoccupation with, what do the boys think or what do the girls think? And then you're not focused on anything else.
Of course, you also have to be concerned with the scoutmasters doing things on the camping trips as well that they're not supposed to be doing. That ended up being a problem with a lot of the Boy Scout troops.
Well, that goes back to the don't ask, don't tell that they followed with the military on. I don't agree with quite that thing either. But the other thing I wanted to touch on was a point that you were making about the drug culture.
Yes, sir.
And I think it probably should just everything be legalized across the board because,
Absolutely.
I'm almost 60. I remember seeing junkies when I was a teenager. And some people just want to kill themselves.
Yep.
I really don't understand it, but it's apparently true.
Well, the reality of it is that here's the interesting thing, and I recommend it. Thanks, Pat, for the call and your thoughts. The interesting thing is to look into Portugal, where they've actually made it legal for people to possess small amounts of all drugs, and it's actually reduced addiction because people aren't afraid to get help.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
It's been said, any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years. From My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
If you're looking for work, or even if you're not, here's an innocent mistake you really want to avoid. Never return calls before listening to your voicemail. Your wireless phone sends calls you didn't answer into voicemail, and it shows you phone numbers for calls you missed. Important, don't call back callers you missed until you have first listened to your messages. Otherwise, you frustrate people who bothered to leave messages by asking them to repeat a message they just left as your voicemail greeting instructed them to. If you're a job applicant, this alone could be a deal killer. And even if you're not, there are few things you can convey to someone that are as fundamentally maddening as, "I didn't hear you." With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain. Maybe enough time for you if you get on the lines right now. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And also, we've got our Discord on-air call-in line room, which you can join over on our Discord server at discord.lrn.fm. Tonight, it's Ian.
I'm Laurel.
And Michael.
Thank you, by the way, to Bogart. He's a Free Talk Live Gold amplifier, longtime amplifier of the show. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. Bogart is helping us out with $10 a month because he's a gold subscriber. We only ask for $5, but we certainly appreciate people that give more and appreciate people that just do the $5. Either way, it's appreciated because it helps us get this show on more radio stations around the country, bring new internet listeners on board, and expose new people to freedom. So go to amp.freetalklive.com, sign up with PayPal, credit card, or Bitcoin BTC. It's up to you and get all the cool perks. ampamp.freetalklive.com. Again, thanks to Bogart. As we continue here with your calls and thoughts, he's David in San Francisco. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, David.
Oh, yeah. I was struck to call by the previous, it sounded like a kid. He was interested in defending Kavanaugh. Mm-hmm. It's kind of interesting. If you look at Kavanaugh's history, America got suckered with this guy. Like, I don't think you're not any big fans of the USA Patriot Act, are you?
No.
Kavanaugh wrote it.
Yeah,
Kavanaugh
he's not a good guy.
Author. Yeah, he's a part author of the Patriot Act. One of the left-wing, right-wing radicals and conservatives hate the Patriot Act. Kavanaugh wrote it.
Yeah.
And the idea that America got suckered by defending him, by all means, because Donald Trump is the biggest phony there is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just more evidence that Trump isn't draining the swamp, right? Like, he appointed the author of the Patriot Act to, one of the highest justice positions he could possibly, the highest that he could possibly appoint him to. Yeah, for life.
For life.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and the idea that means it's interesting because in the history of Christianity, the original Martin Luther, he was a monk, if I remember right, in a Catholic order, and he discovered there was all this crime and criminality going on in the monkhood, and he took 97 theses, 97 counts of crimes that he made this long list, and he nailed it to the front door of the cathedral and said, "This is wrong." And one of them that was indulgences, the idea that you could pay now, sin later. and the idea that you look at the current crop of profiteers, they say that every congressman and every senator should have decals, of the corporations that are keeping them in power.
Yeah, kind of like sponsors in a car race or whatever have the decals.
That would be helpful.
So with that in mind, the indulgences idea, they're giving bribes to congressmen and senators so that they can sin later. Pay now, sin later. And Donald Trump is just up in the ante because what they used to at least have to have some science behind, a vote in Congress. You wouldn't be able to pass a bill unless there was some logical reason to authorize it. Now they don't even use logic. They ignore science. You look at the South, how they just got ripped apart with, a couple of hurricanes through North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, just got ripped apart. Houston, hurricane after hurricane, massive hurricanes, and not one of those politicians believes in global warming. These
I'm not sure the point there.
Well, it's so the hurricanes are formed over hot oceans, and the oceans are getting so hot that it's coming down as bathwater. When the hurricane hit South Carolina a week ago,
it's
that
coming
water
down
was
as
so
bathwater.
hot.
You're saying the
was
rainwater
that
is
warm.
hot?
I think a lot of people in the Republican Party do believe in climate. Some of them don't believe in climate change, but I think a lot of them believe in climate change. What they're not sure of is how quickly it's happening and
Well,
what
he
to
said
do about
global
it.
warming.
He said global
which is
warming.
a different idea, right?
It's a type of climate change.
Well, right. So first they were pitching the ice age back in the 70s, then it's global
Don't fall for
warming,
that.
now it's climate change because they can't
Don't
really.
fall for that.
Huh?
Don't fall for that.
Which one shouldn't I fall for? Because they've pitched all of them in the last 40 years.
I'm old enough to remember Rachel Carson's book, Silent Spring. And if you look at the history of, for example, Exxon believed Rachel Carson. She wrote a book called Silent Spring, where the pollution would get so bad that there wouldn't be a springtime anymore. There would always be, there would be silence.
This was a fiction book. You're talking about a fiction book? Because that hasn't happened.
It was nonfiction.
Okay.
It was the basis of pollution.
You're saying she was
helped
making
get-
predictions, though. She wasn't saying that was happening.
It was based on science.
Well, there's a lot of
Rachel
things.
Carson
There's a
was
lot of
no
things
dummy.
that claim to be scientific, and certainly science is a process of trying to uncover what the truth is through constant testing and retesting.
Well, Exxon,
questioning.
the board of directors of Exxon believed her when that book came out. And they tried to be a good, clean company, and they changed gas formulas and whatnot. But in 1977, and look up the Exxon papers, in 1977, the board of directors totally got routed out and became a 180-degree difference and believed that they better buy the universities to deny that their pollution was causing, climate change. And in the original days, they believed that the rise of carbon dioxide would make this series of clouds over the entire Earth, and it would get so bad that it would block
I'm sorry,
out
did
the
you
sun.
say that they bought the universities to say whatever scientific papers that the corporation
He
wanted
did
them to say?
that, yes.
So why
Yeah,
can't it work the
Exxon
other
papers.
way?
Well, Exxon papers, science is science, but polluters can buy scientists.
But
right? Every
yes,
once in a
I
while,
agree,
you'll see a
but
study that
can't
says
it go
that
both
chocolate
ways?
is good for you, or something
He still
like
hasn't
that.
answered your question. Have you even heard her question?
Can't it go both ways? That if you can pay experts to come up with a study that says one thing, can't you pay experts to come up with a study that says something else? And doesn't that
Well, that's
erode
why
our
they have
faith in the science in either direction on whatever topic
peer
we're talking
peer
about?
review. That's what peer review is all about. And
Well,
that
but
it-
as we've seen, a lot of the journals are, corrupted as well. So just because it's a peer-reviewed journal doesn't mean that it's not subject to being questioned on top of that. David, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. I just I don't accept the idea that there's a scientific consensus on things because it sort of seems anti-science to me. Like science is constantly testing. Science is constantly questioning.
But science isn't a democracy.
Correct. So we can continue here with David in New Mexico on the Discord lines. David, go ahead.
Yeah, hey, we only have like 2 minutes, right?
Yeah, you're short on time.
Okay, so here we go. This isn't rehashing the same old thing. It's adding some new stuff. And neither one of these stations that I'm referring to, and I don't even need to name them, but neither of them are currently carrying your program or intending to in the near future. Well, I guess I don't know that, but they're not your affiliate right now. Two things. One, in the 6 times that I've been able to fake my name and phone number and all that and get onto one of these two, or this one radio station in particular, I got through to another politician, the guy who's currently our state auditor in New Mexico, Wayne Johnson, and he's trying to get himself reelected. And I faked it and I got on, and then when I get on, then I tell them, I undisguise my voice and I tell them that this is David Olson, and then they immediately hang up on me. And then the politician says, why? I know David, I've talked to him many times, I know his issues. And that's not the point. The point is that a person wants to ask you a question, not in private, but we want to ask it in public so that the public can hear the question asked and can hear the question answered without any censorship being able to alter anything.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And let me take that back if we go back in history, we had the stump, right? The political stump. And this is literal stuff. If you go back to before modern communications, politicians would go to the town square and they would get up on a stump or a soapbox, one or the other. They didn't have soapboxes in the beginning; they had stumps, and they would give their speech, and the crowd would gather around and they'd heckle them or they'd ask them questions, and everybody could hear. Yeah,
you couldn't censor people in a crowd like that.
Exactly. Right. And now what we got, the only thing like that we have that, because the politicians are not doing town halls hardly at all anymore. Yeah. The only thing that we have in this market, it's absolute. The only thing we have where we can ask a question in public is when those politicians come to a radio station. Mm-hmm. And the radio stations, both of these stations, they're number 1 and number 2 in the state of New Mexico, and they have an exact formula, especially if it's a caller like myself that can really nail you to the wall. What they do to me and to most people is they only allow you to ask a question, not really make comments.
And they cut your call off. You don't get to actually respond.
The second you ask them, is the sky blue, the line goes dead and you're cut off.
Right.
And the politician can say whatever they want.
They can answer it however they want or dodge it however they want. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that, David. Thank you for the call tonight. And as part of the reason why I formed Free Talk Live was, to be open phones, to allow anybody to call in. Although we did just ban James from Arizona recently because he was threatening people. But that's not really a conversation. So, thanks for coming in tonight, guys. Laurel.
Thank you.
Laurel, ScottImmigration.com?
ScottImmigration.net.
ScottImmigration.net. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. FreeTalkLive.com.
Free Talk Live.
I wanted to ask your listeners about the religion and the people who practice Wicca. What do they think their agenda is? Is it to take over the world? Or?
Oh, no. No, I don't think so.
I mean, because they're somewhat of bullies.
They're bullies? What do you mean?
They bully with the religion themselves. A lot of people are afraid of them.
Can you give me an example?
The Tea Party.
The Tea Party has to do with Wicca?
Well, it's mostly because they're so secretive.
So
the Wiccans.
The Wiccans are secretive and they have a lot of numbers, and they've infiltrated the Tea Party?
Well, they use them, like, for instance, the breakdown of Obamacare. That could very well have been the Wiccans using their power to break down the computers.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content